Yo, what's cracking? What's popping? What's shaking? If you just heard me kind of talking, I was responding to Grace. I know you all couldn't hear her, but I was just responding. She was like, "Are you okay?" And I was really just letting the intro ride out. Let it play a little bit. I know we're running a few seconds behind, but yeah. I hope everybody's doing well. Grace, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was concerned for your health. You were like looking in the corner very like sternly. I was like, "Are you all right?"
No, I was making sure everything was solid in terms of the intro, you know what I'm saying?
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's what friends do though,
Yeah.
So we're
No.
all good. But I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I got a gift today and it was totally unexpected. Just because it was from a client and it's not a birthday gift. It was just something that it came down to like I came to their house for a session this morning. And right when I walk in, my client was just like, "Oh yeah, I got you something for you to put up on your back wall when you're streaming." So I'm gonna pull it out real quick. He gave me a couple collectibles, and being that we are legit starting our topic or starting our day off talking about DC, he gave me a few DC collectibles. I got one Batman here. I got another
Dude.
Batman there. And just Batman aside, he gave me two comics that I thought was interesting. It's like a Batman. I don't even want to open it. It's like in the packaging or whatnot, and it has like Nightwing and everything on it. You can't see it because of the
Dude.
lighting. I'm gonna put up a better picture on Instagram, and then he gave me like a book as like a graphic novel. So he somehow, I guess, psychically knew we're gonna be starting off with a DC announcement. You know what I'm saying? So he's just like, "Here, you want to talk DC? I got a little something for you."
Dude, that is so cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a good client right there. I love
Definitely,
that.
definitely.
Man, can we get like a little bit of a close up on those figures?
Check it out.
Dude,
What? No, bring it over here.
pretty
There.
cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought it
Love
was
it.
pretty cool. So I'm gonna find a little space over here just so they can get some shine in the background. But as of right now, I'm going to just actually no, I don't want to block the logo over there. You know what? Boom. Here we go.
Boom. Love it. Love it. See, fun fact, last week I was like, oh, in the name of celebration, I ordered like a $200 Harley Quinn statue, and I'm like, I'm gonna have it in my background. I canceled the order because that was just substantially large of an order, but yeah, just fun fact.
Is that
Felt bad,
from
but there's a
from
fine
Funko?
line. No, actually, it was I found it on Amazon. It's like one of those independently owned like distributors or
Okay.
whatever, like that. It's like a comic book shop,
Mm-hmm.
but they had like a very small amount. It is like I still just like look at it on my Amazon cart. It's such a pretty like statue, but it's just ridiculously expensive, So
I
I had to
gotcha. You have to
undo
tame
the
yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I had to undo
Yeah.
it. But I love that for you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot, not a lot, but we have DC stuff, which is cool because we're dry on like DC content,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's a mix of things. What do you want to start with DC related?
What you've been most excited to talk about?
Okay, guys. I'm so excited. Guys, if you guys saw our post of this week, you guys know that the release date for Joker, the sequel, I think it's called Madness for Two, but in like French, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce.
Okay.
And so I believe the release is October 4th. Let me double check. I have it.
I just remember. I think it said 2024.
Yes, so it's got a little while to go. Um, and so I don't know, it's funny for them to release something in terms of like a release date so soon, but I feel like maybe they realized they were so dried in like Comic-Con that they had to give us like something, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's October 4th, 2024. And along with the release date, it was the next day that they announced that Harley Quinn was officially going to be played by Lady Gaga. We talked about it like for like maybe a second
Mm-hmm.
a while ago when it was like first I think rumored, or maybe we were just talking briefly about like, oh, if there's like a lady, if there's a Harley Quinn and like the new Joker, et cetera, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But how are you feeling? Like, how do you feel with these announcements? Where are you at? Like, where's your brain at with these?
I don't really know Gaga as an actress that well. The only thing I've honestly seen her in was, I guess, that first season of American Horror Story that she was in, The Hotel. But aside from that, I didn't get to see House of Gucci yet, or like any other films that she's been in. But I can say, as far as her portrayal of the character that she did in American Horror Story, I can see it being kind of similar to the feel of a Harley Quinn. It's just like Harley Quinn
Mm-hmm.
is just a little bit more, crazy, wild and crazy. So,
As you expect.
I am for sure curious to see how they're going to go, if they're actually going to do the psychiatrist route or psychologist route, and her meeting Walking Phoenix for the first time, and then falling for the Joker. So I'm curious just
I
to see where it
mean,
goes.
honestly, I think that's exactly what they're gonna do. Not only is that exactly what happens in the comics, right? But I was rewatching the end credit scene from Joker,
Mm-hmm.
the 2019 film, and right, because like the final scene of the film, the Joker is basically like held up like a king by like the misfits and criminals of Gotham, right? There's somewhat of a riot going on after
Right.
his, um,
TV
you
show
know,
thing.
to yes, the TV show. But then the post-credit scene shows him laughing maniacally across the table from who we can assume to be like a doctor, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
psychiatrist,
Mm-hmm.
and what we can also assume to be maybe Gotham Asylum. And there's a lot to make us believe, like, oh my goodness, like, was this whole film, or maybe parts of it, just made up? Like, the parts of him kind of being set up to be like the Joker, you know what I mean? Just like held up by all these criminals. Um, and another end is like, oh, maybe there's a couple ways to interpret it. It's like, okay, maybe portions of this movie we just saw are actually not real, like
Mm-hmm.
him becoming this like king of the criminals, the clown prince of crime. Or maybe this is something that happens after this riot, like he maybe does get captured by the police and sent to Gotham Asylum, or I'm saying Arkham Asylum.
I don't
For
wait. Let me stop you right there. I don't understand how people can translate that differently just from how it ended.
Because the way it cuts, there's a couple of things that kind of set that to be the situation. So, right, we kind of are left to believe, like, oh my goodness, this is like so cool. Like, he kind of just gets, the ending for Joker is amazing, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's like a riot, and you even see like the Batman origin thing happening on the sidelines, right? A little bit, like, where
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of assume that. But when that end credit scene comes up, he's laughing maniacally. And the psychiatrist is like asking him, like, oh, like, what's so funny? He says, like,
You
you
wouldn't
wouldn't
get
get
it.
it. Like,
Right. Right.
it's set up to be as if like he's humored by the events we just saw unfold at the end of the film, almost as if it just happened in his head. But in
No,
addition to
no,
this,
no, no. Let me just shut
no,
that shit
this
down
is
right now,
not just
because
me. Like,
I'm
this
gonna
is a
say
legitimate.
he got caught, and eventually got put wherever he is. Like, if it's Arkham Asylum, so be it. But then from there, I think it was just plain and simple. I don't think like the director was trying to do anything like underneath like the surface, like, oh, it's all psychological and it was in his head or whatnot. Like, I feel like it was more so in the order of events. Like, eventually after they had the riot and then he made a smile with the blood from his mouth or whatnot, somewhere the police caught him and now he's in Arkham Asylum.
See, well, that's one take, but the other take is very much justifiable because this entire film is really displaying his psychosis. I mean, a good portion of it, he thinks he has a girlfriend, and then he realizes all of it was in his head. So it's not too far off. But something that, and I'm kind of split in the middle. I feel like the next film, obviously, we're gonna find out. Regardless, he ends up in Arkham. That's like the fact, regardless of which path you decide to take. But to entertain the side of like, let's just say it was all a psychological like warping and almost an additional commentary to what the film was addressing, they do something really, really cool with the music that I really, really liked. So we've talked about this before, like kind of diegetic and non-diegetic music and score in
Mm-hmm.
films. So the song starts playing after he says, "You wouldn't get it," and it's Frank Sinatra's "That's Life."
Mm-hmm.
It's being played non-diegetically, meaning it doesn't exist in the world of the film, right? Like
Right.
these characters aren't supposed to be hearing it. There's no source of it. It's for us. However, then the Joker starts to sing along, kind of creating a barrier where it's like, although it's non-diegetic because it doesn't exist in the world that he's in, it exists
In
for
his mind.
him because he's the one who's telling us the story that has a potential to be flawed. So it's just very cool. It's a very interesting, say, clue for those who want to follow the line that it was a psychological kind of like manipulation. Either way, though, he's in Arkham. So to your point, I think that we're definitely going to see that storyline of he's going to meet Harley Quinn at Arkham Asylum. Harley Quinn is the one who breaks him out of Arkham Asylum. The phrase that they use as the, I guess, what would you call it, like the subtitle to the film,
Mm-hmm.
right? The French phrase that means um, madness for two,
Mm-hmm.
it actually is also discussing, or I kind of looked up like the meaning of it. I'm just going to read it. So that phrase, because I'm not even going to try to pronounce it,
Mm-hmm.
is a very rare psychiatric syndrome in which a psychotic symptom is transmitted from one individual to another. We present, and then this is just kind of additional, but so, and that's exactly what happens with like the Joker and Harley Quinn. So I feel like the title is already confirming so much with so little, and it just excites me. Someone that is like a huge Harley Quinn fan, which anyone who's seen any episode could probably like pick up on, this is really cool. And
Hold
Lady
on. I'm gonna.
Gaga,
I'm
oh, go
like.
ahead.
I'm just looking at our Instagram, and I wanted to. Uh. Well, the title I would believe it's announced Folie à deux. You know, it's just like
I'll
on
take
that.
it.
It's on less than 3 years of French in high school. He's still like hang on to some things, but
Something.
if it's literally translated to Madness for Two, then I can see if it's more so on the idea of going the psychosis route, or if anything, it's just literal in terms of the two of them being the two. You know.
Oh, totally. But the phrase itself has an additional meaning despite like aside from just like its actual translation.
Mm-hmm.
And just because say there's like psychosis involved, because regardless of like whether you want to say this was just an order of events and he ends up in Arkham,
Mm-hmm.
or like we've seen these events that are actually just in his head, um, like psychosis is still involved, you know, because he experiences that with like, you know, he thought he had a girlfriend and all these other things. And so being that he's going to be in Arkham Asylum, being that this is the meaning of like the subtitle of the film, it just kind of like draws the line to like maybe we're going to see something like that. Like he's going to meet Dr. Harley Quinzel, and you know, kind of similar to what we see a little bit in Suicide Squad. Like she falls for the Joker and she starts to develop a similar psychosis. You know
Mm-hmm.
what this phrase exactly means. I'm excited, and
Question:
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think Walking is he's gonna put on weight in this movie, or do you think he's gonna cut back down to frail frame?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't see why they would specifically have him gain weight for like the character. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Are they gonna have him trimmed down to how he was in like the original film? I'm not sure. Like unless they're like planning to give us another shot
Mm-hmm.
to display how frail he was, which I don't think is necessary, right? Because they established it in the first film and that he's just very unwell all around, you
Right.
know. So I don't know. I guess like TBD. Yeah,
Okay.
but I am excited with Lady Gaga's casting. Like me, I really never thought that I would live to see the day where they would announce a Harley Quinn casting that would even somehow match Margot Robbie, who's basically monopolized the role for over half a decade, you know? But I think, not to say this is going to trump it, but I think it's just going to allow us to see a Harley Quinn story, maybe even somewhat of an origin story if it's starting in Arkham Asylum, that is set in this really like just sad like storytelling
Mm-hmm.
similar to what they did with the Joker. It's just exciting. And Lady Gaga has range. Like it's not like they just pick some random out of the blue person.
No, yeah,
She
yeah, I get it.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like she's established herself as an incredible actress, and so I have high hopes. This is either going to like outdo the last or it's just gonna not be good at all.
Well, in comparison to Margot Robbie, I don't even think it needs to be comparable, just for the simple fact that I think it's gonna come to be what everybody does, like especially with the Joker role, it's just gonna be their interpretation of this character, you know. And
Exactly.
though it may be different from Margot, it's not to say that it won't be good. Just like that would be as silly as saying or comparing Walking to Heath Ledger. You know,
Heath
they
Ledger,
were just
yeah.
like two separate takes on the Joker, but both like Oscar worthy. You know, so I would never say one could be better than the other. I would just say it's a different take.
Yeah, and that's what I'm so excited about because it's going to be a different take. And I just think the way that, or the casting gets me excited because I think they can deliver it really well. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this version of Harley Quinn. You know, and I hope it's different than the Margot Robbie, and it will. You know, so I'm just pumped.
But
This
let
is a
me,
great day. It's been a
but
great week.
let me ask you this though. Like, say when it comes down to it, and we're talking about these characters, and uh, just respecting their take on these characters. Why is it that uh, heroes don't get the same thing?
What do you mean?
Because I feel like, for example, Batman, there's like a power ranking in terms of who's better than who, you know, to where we don't do that with the Joker, and we're talking about not doing that with Harley Quinn, you know. So, do you is like is it just me, or have you like seen stuff like that?
I mean, in terms of like, we've talked about it, like, oh, like, who's your favorite Batman? Who's your favorite Catwoman?
Right.
Things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
like, you mean like, oh, we haven't really had much of like, oh, who's your favorite Joker? Your favorite this?
Because
I feel like there
nobody
is a
does
little.
that. That's the point I'm making. It's like I don't think anybody is on the oh Heath is definitely better than Joaquin or vice versa. You know, to where we'll get like oh you know Michael Keaton is the top, or people will say like Val Kilmer was the worst. When in actuality, for me, I think he was good. It was just he had bad villains. You know, so like I feel like Batman is just one of those characters. I guess being that there's more movies on the characters, people get a little bit more judgy.
I mean, I think being that there's more people who have played him, there's more room to kind of compare for sure, right? Harley Quinn, there's only been one who's adapted her in like a live action, which is Harleen Quinzel. And so I think once we do get like Lady Gaga, it's more so like a compare and contrast. That's really what people have done with, I think, the Heath Ledger and the Joaquin Phoenix. I think like the fandom has recognized both of their portrayals are like magnificent and they're so different, and that's great because the character is so diverse and they've adapted him differently even in the comics, you know, and explored different attributes.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that the Joker is actually a really great example of the fact that the fandom does do it. I think maybe just because whenever you get like say a Batman film, it's not always like the Joker, or it's not always the same villain. So I guess it's like you'll see Batman like replaced more than the villains do. I don't know. I think we just have more Batmans to compare.
Okay.
But I would definitely see, I've seen so much like discourse and commentary on like comparing the different Jokers, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
Jared Leto, the definitely the Jared Leto to the Heath Ledger, and even when the Joaquin Phoenix one came out, comparing that to Heath Ledger and even to Jared Leto. It's just I have seen a lot of commentary on it, but I think it's honestly lies in what you said. Like there's just I think more comparison because it's same thing with Iron Man. There's nothing to compare it to, you know. So I
Right.
think it's similar to when it comes to like the villains. I think a great example for that also is the Penguin. You know, because I think we've only seen two live action adaptations, at least two that I know of, and both of them like are great.
Who are
You
they?
know,
Name them.
the one from the recent Batman, and then the original by
Oh,
Danny DeVito.
gotcha. Colin Farrell and Danny
Like
DeVito,
there
and
we go, there we go.
and like I'm not sure if it counts, but the only other Penguin that I've seen was like initially from I've only seen the first season of Gotham, the
Oh, see,
show.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, I
Right.
haven't seen it. So, but yeah, yeah.
Honestly, like the Penguin being the character that he is, though he is a villain, I don't think he's just like a super villain like the Joker. So he's like a character so far that in terms of being portrayed on film, uh, he's not. I don't even think Danny DeVito or even like Colin Farrell should be even compared. I think that falls under the same category of being that there's not too many of that character. You know, is like Danny DeVito when growing up and seeing that in theaters, he was the Penguin, you know, and now,
Yeah.
oh hold on, my computer logged out. But now when it comes down to like Colin Farrell now introducing the Penguin here, being that I would say. Let's talk about Batman Returns, where the primary villain was the Penguin, and like I forgot the name of the businessman, who was played by Christopher Walken.
Hmm.
Um, that in comparison to the main villain here in the Batman was the Riddler, and Penguin was such more so like a middleman, like under Falcone. You know, he was never really like the head honcho. So we haven't even seen like the Penguin be the Penguin, if that makes sense.
Yes, and honestly, yeah, because and we mentioned it too. This was more like we met what's his full name?
Who?
Why am I like messing up on the Penguin's full name?
Colin Farrell.
No, 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 no. Like the Penguin, like
Oh,
the
Oswald Cobblepot.
there we go. So it was more so like we met him the same way we met like Selena Kyle, and we haven't met like their, if you will, alter egos for sure.
Right.
But like what I'm saying is like I think that the adaptations we did see with these two different actors, both of them are great, but they're not exactly the same. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's I think they're a great example to kind of compare to how we were talking about Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix, and hopefully how we compare Harley Quinn's or I'm sorry, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn and Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn, because I really do feel like Lady Gaga's going to do such a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's gonna, I'm just excited. I'm excited to see kind of like the Joaquin Phoenix Joker world of
Harley
Harley Quinn.
Quinn.
Like
Yeah.
I'm just really pumped about that. Yeah.
I think the last little tidbit that I'll say, just when it comes down to this comparison chart, basically that we've made in the last few minutes, when it comes down to just the Joker, I think the only two of the three that I know of that can really kind of be compared would maybe be Heath and Jack Nicholson. Even though those are two very different takes, those are
Very
characters
close.
to where they were already the Joker. Jack Nicholson has somewhat of like he had a quick origin story, real quick, but he was primarily the villain in the original Michael Keaton Batman. So when it comes down to it, they were kind of the Joker the whole entire time. To where Heath is different, to where this whole entire movie was an origin story, and then you see how he becomes the Joker. So if anything, this movie, I guess, coming up with Harley Quinn, it would be kind of the time to where I feel maybe we can compare all three of them because he will be the Joker then.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It's going to be a really cool development because we've, really grown to have a lot of sympathy for Arthur Fleck. Like for us, although I mean, he kills someone on live TV. He's been killing a lot of people. Like we're kind of rooting for him,
Right.
And so it's going to be very interesting once he becomes fully like the Joker, which, it's like you said, we only really saw at the very far end of the film. And like I mentioned before, we don't even really know if that is exactly how it happened. Like maybe
Mm-hmm.
this is going to give us an even like further origin to the Joker or something of that. So I'm excited because
Yeah.
I really do like they're going to do a great job. It's the same writer. Um, and the only thing that stresses me out
Mm.
is DC, like as the big guys. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
the suits, because I don't know if you heard, like the Batgirl movie had just been
Yeah,
like
I heard about that.
canceled, and it
Yeah.
was supposed to. And we've talked about it. Neither of us were very much invested in the movie itself, but I think it's more so what it represents that they spent like $90 million on this film that was supposed to be released like end of this year, start of next year,
Right.
and they pulled the plug last minute. It just feels like they have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
So it's a little shaky and scary. I like don't want them to mess
Warner
up the film,
Brothers
and
is
yeah.
definitely is a shaky that whole area in Burbank. That's like every time I drive by, like I don't want to say it's a sour taste, but like when it comes down to like these DC movies, it's like come on Warner Brothers, you know. But like say when it comes down to like say this news with Batgirl, um, like I think I read that it was being directed by these two gentlemen that directed a couple episodes of Miss Marvel, right? And I wouldn't say I wasn't invested, just simply for the fact that I think I would have checked it out for the fact that Michael Keaton has signed on to do it, you know, and that would have been that connection to that version of Batman. So, is it sad that they shut it down? I would say so, just because I know a lot of fans were looking forward towards that connection and to see him in the suit. I know we're about to get it in Flash, the Flashpoint Paradox movie, but just to see Michael Keaton more as the Batman playing Bruce Wayne, that's a win. And it was I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was still COVID, but like the whole thing of just shutting it down, it's a real bummer, you know?
And I feel so bad for the actress who played Batgirl. Like, I mean, imagine getting that opportunity and then they just like pull the plug. No one ever gets to see this project. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that really sucks. That really sucks. Yeah, and so it's not a good sign. It's like the studio gets this like craze over, the Joker, and then we get this like immediately after. It's like they have one step forward, two steps back. So we'll see. But I'm still very hopeful
Wait,
as long as.
I think I have a
Go
theory
ahead.
here. Just because, what's the nationality of Batgirl for that movie?
I think she was black. I think yeah.
So I feel like that is something to consider. You know, they were initially taking a big bet, and who's to say that they chickened out? You know, and the only reason why I bring this up is because say it was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, I believe, to where we got news that on a totally different company, this is actually Disney, that we were gonna get like a Black Little Mermaid remake, and it's come to the point to where it's quiet, you know, and being that D23 is coming up, um, and that movie was announced like a few years ago, if we don't get anything, let's say in this D23, then I can assume that's shelf because of maybe some of these what are they called? Maybe they have these groups that get viewings and they don't get like good ratings from things like this. You know, does that make sense?
It does make sense. I do, in terms of like the Little Mermaid thing, I think that's still in progress. I haven't seen them announce that it's not happening, but I
Mm-hmm.
do know what you're saying because I remember, despite the excitement for many of us, there were others who were like, "Well, this is not the Little Mermaid I wanted. This is not the
Right.
Little Mermaid I expected her." And so I do understand, like, oh, maybe that was something that then changed their mind last minute, which could have possibly been the case. Is this the first time this would have happened? 1,000% not.
Mm-hmm.
We know this. Um, but it just, I feel like they would have pulled the plug sooner. Like, I feel like I wouldn't have been so close to a release date or even like a trailer date. Like they've already invested so much money.
Right.
I feel like it just doesn't make sense for them not to just release it. It's not like DC has a track record for like releasing something they don't continue on. Like they could have still just released it. They already spent all the money on it.
And it's not like they
So
have
I don't
a
know.
they don't. It's not like they have a track record of, or a solid track record of good movies. So say if it was a dud, they should still release it no matter what.
That's what I'm saying. The standard is so low.
Right.
Or just like give us anything,
Give us something, you know.
I don't know. All around, it doesn't sit well. Like it feels like something horrible is happening in the company. I feel like that like people are just fighting back and forth. I don't know, but
Yeah.
A solid win that we got this announcement for Joker. I solid win just having this casting confirmed because it's just really exciting, and I'm excited to see these two,
Yeah,
enigmas just kind of interact on screen. So,
definitely.
I think that's all of the DC stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to hop into Marvel?
I sure am.
I'm so excited. Okay,
So,
how do you want to start this off?
we're before we get into power rankings, I wanna tell you my theory. I texted you yesterday. I said I have a
Yes.
theory.
Okay. Yes.
So,
Let's hear it.
uh, recently, right? With the whole Comic Con release of the trailer, everybody wants to know who the new Panther is, right? And we got that image from the back, and we're looking at it, and it's just like, it's too thick to be Shuri, and we don't know who it is. I even theorized that it could be Bast, right? But I looked at the image yesterday, and looking at it, it reminds me so much of the suit that King T'Chaka was wearing when he met
Okay.
his brother in Oakland. So, I'm still with the belief that there is a flashback that kind of goes into the history of Wakandans versus Atlanteans. And I believe that the picture that we saw was King T'Chaka.
Well, there is going to be a flashback. I believe that has been confirmed somewhere for sure.
Mm-hmm.
However, the one thing is that, and I know I'm like focusing on this tiny little thing, is if you look at the wrist, that is a lady's wrist right there, and I'm like so convinced.
What are
So
you
for
talking?
that
Look at my
little
wrist. You
piece
know what I'm saying?
alone,
Look at this.
your wrist ain't dainty. That's a dainty wrist right there. And I'm just saying, because of that alone, I really don't think this clip that we got is from a flashback. Do I think we're going to get a flashback that showcases maybe the original beef that they have with the Atlanteans? I really think we're going to get it. I don't think this shot is of that, though.
Okay.
However, it is still highly debated because even when you sent it to me, I'm like, dude, like it is just so. It's like not. And when we say thick, guys, we're not saying like he is wide. It's just
This
that
looks
Shuri has a
solid. You
very
know what I'm saying?
thin, like slim. Yeah, it's
Right.
a solid, thick frame. But
Mm-hmm.
like Shuri is very, very like she's a thin girl, so it just looks very different. My assumption is either I love your theory of it being Bass, like I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people say maybe it's going to be Okoye, maybe it's going to be all the other strong women of Wakanda, but it might also just be like a stunt double, and they ended up using the stunt doubles like
That's
shot.
lame. Just CG.
I don't
Don't
know.
give me a stunt double. Like CG Shuri or something. But like,
Do better.
say I won't. I'm not opposed to Okoye either. Just because just seeing her, like, we don't really get too well. Here I'm gonna go there. We don't get too many
Go
shots
there.
of her being thick in Black Panther, but seeing her in Walking Dead, I'm like, okay, Michonne is a little thick back there. So if anything, it could be Okoye as the new Black Panther.
As you guys can see, we obviously inspect the booties of the multiverse
Yep,
very
yep.
thoroughly.
It's like that's not Sharice, you know. Oh man.
But I'm down for any of it.
Okay.
I do think we're gonna get that. It's been announced we will get a flashback. I believe they did say what year it was gonna be from. I can't tell you off the bat. But I feel like I remember like the timeline would make sense for it to be like, oh, when the Atlanteans and the Wakandans
Mm-hmm.
first like started their beef. So I think you're gonna get your flashback that you want,
Well, a flashback for
Um
sure. And the second half of my theory, this is something that I thought about after I texted you. Because this is still technically phase 4, correct? It's ending
yes,
phase
this
4,
last
right?
exactly.
So, phase 4 being what it is, which is either two categories. It's either multiversal or it is consequences of the blip, right? My random theory that I thought about would say this movie is during the blip, and when it comes down to all the scenes that we saw that we saw of everybody kind of being sad and whatnot, we don't know what happened. We just know that end of Infinity War, T'Challa was the only Wakandan that we known to really disappear. So they could have just been mourning losing T'Challa in Infinity War, and this movie could be set during the blip.
See, I wouldn't be mad if they did that. That would be so cool because we don't have a lot of content in the middle of the blip. Like we assume She-Hulk is going to be like that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of our little theory that we've had. Um, but Shuri was blip.
Yeah.
So, and being that Shuri is here,
Wait,
I
Shuri
don't
was
think that's what
blipped?
we're going to be seeing. Shuri was blip. She shows up on the screen as one of the disappearing this like people that disappeared.
Oh man, oh
Yeah,
man. Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Dang. Well, theory debunked.
There we are.
Thanks, Grace. All right, so game plan. All right, y'all. So you all see it in the title. The title I have here is the power rankings of the current MCU. So I'm going to first switch the screen so you all can see what we're going to do here. We're going to do something a little different. It's from a different ranking system. This is the original kind of tier maker that I used back in the day. But as you can see with the title, it says MCU's heroes and anti-heroes in the Multiverse Saga tier list maker. So I wanted to do something to where we have around 40, I would say 41 or 42 characters here. Okay? And with these characters, all are still relevant in the current MCU. But in past conversations that Grace and I have, I think, have come to almost I don't want to say a conclusion, but let's say with the idea that Marvel is now beginning to split. And with that, you can see, like I said, with 40 plus characters, it's going to be nearly impossible to put everyone in the big anticlimactic movie, or like I can imagine that being Secret Wars, but Secret Wars is phase 6 and that's not coming anytime soon. So say right here right now I wanted to kind of put a ranking system together, and it's going to be based on 3 levels, which is street level, mystical level, and intergalactic level. So anything having to do with outer space. So I thought about it. Grace, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I'm ready. I'm
Okay.
ready. I was
Okay.
trying to write out. Okay, so I have it with me because you sent it to me, and you
Mm-hmm.
know what's so funny? I was like trying to play with this, and I'm like, how the hell do I write things down? Am I supposed to type it in? No. Right now that I'm looking it on my no, I know. I scrolled, and I'm like, oh, these aren't just pictures. You can pop them up. So
Right.
I made like no, like listen, I made my own little list of like just so I have the names of characters as we talked about them. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, where I yeah. So I have like my little mini list, but
Okay.
I guess just I'm just gonna I didn't rank them because obviously we're gonna rank them here,
Sure.
but I have yeah, I'm just gonna look at this bad boy now. Yeah.
All right. So I'm honestly just gonna go in the order that they're presented to me right here, right now. Um, Yelena Belova comes up first. Now.
Street level. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna throw in the street just because you said so, right? And wait, so before we even get into ranking power levels first, would you rather just break the levels down and then rank them after we get all of them in each respected level?
You know what? I feel like it might be easier to do them as we go. Like, say the
Okay.
next person we have as like street level, we can rank it against Yelena and then go
Right.
as we go. I think that might be the most efficient, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
So say with Yelena, right? Phase 4, we met her in Black Widow. And we can all come to the assumption that they or she is a part of, or going to be a part of, the Thunderbolts, correct?
Yes, that is what we can assume is going to happen.
So it's now safe to assume that that's what Val is doing. Val is collecting members for the Thunderbolts.
She's the Nick Fury for the Thunderbolts. Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, I can see the Thunderbolts, quote unquote, being the team of anti-heroes that are almost equivalent to, let's say, the first Avengers, right? And I can imagine, yes, her right now being street level, but who's to say with Thunderbolt Ross at the helm, him trying to go on some like not mystical, but maybe like intergalactic. You know, it's like, oh, the Avengers can't handle this. Us Thunderbolts can go. Like, how do you feel? Like, do you think it'll ever be that, or do you think she's just gonna stay street level?
I mean, that'd be kind of cool. And you know something? I mean, like even the Avengers, like, and the last film, went into like outer space. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like Cap was like strapped up, and Hawkeye,
Yeah.
and Nat, all of them. And so, yeah, I could so see that happening. I'm not too familiar with Thunderbolts in the comics to be like,
Okay.
oh yes, it happened at this time and this time, whatever. But I think that would be so cool. Yeah,
Okay. So,
for
but to
sure.
be safe, we're just gonna keep her in street.
Yes.
Next up, it's Peter Parker. Okay. And I think it was right here in Comic Con to where Kevin Feige announced that Peter Parker and Daredevil, they are like I think he said verbatim, they're gonna be street level kind of going forward. So I'm gonna put them two into street level. Am I
Yes.
right on that quote?
You know something? I actually don't know of the quote. I had Spider-Man under my street level already, just
Okay.
because if you look at Mystical and Intergalactic, he doesn't fit there either. Like he
Sure.
makes sense to be a street level. Yeah, so I wouldn't disagree. Mhm.
Okay. Well, with how No Way Home ended, you know, I think it's just more so now New York is his city, and it's going to be more so like we've seen from animated series and video games of just him swinging in New York, you know. So I think that just makes sense to keep him street. He's already been intergalactic on Titan, you know, so he just got back from space, and I'm sure he's not looking to make any more trips anytime soon. So he's
Yeah,
trying
and
to,
even then, like I would still think of him as like a street level hero. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, yeah, it would just be in space.
sure, sure, sure.
Yeah.
So now with the ranking right now in Street, we have Yelena, Peter Parker, and Daredevil. So did you? I think it's safe to say Peter Parker is first. Yes.
Yes, and then I
Okay.
got Daredevil after, and then Yelena. How do you feel about that?
Why do you put Daredevil over Yelena Belova?
I don't know. He just like, I mean, I feel like I think because of the fact that his like ability to sense things in a higher capacity than
Mm-hmm.
everyone else, despite him being blind, that's like a superpower, you know?
Okay.
So I feel like for that reason, otherwise they can kind of almost be matched in terms of like they're both kind of like assassin type people.
Yeah.
I feel like Daredevil has that one up on Yelena. You know,
Okay.
that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
For sure. All right. Next up is the Hulk.
I mean, Hulk has to be street level, wouldn't you say?
Well, right now we're seeing him with She-Hulk, and that technically means that he is street, I guess, being that he's here on Earth. But I'm seeing a lot of just fans just asking for either like Planet Hulk or World War Hulk, and I believe that to be off-world.
Yes, but we're not there yet. With Ragnarok, we kind of got a feel for it, just being that he's like in, outer space. But I
Mm-hmm.
think as of now, his home is in the streets.
Okay, so
And
this
eventually maybe he'll transition.
but say I would like this to be like on some like say from this point kind of going forward even to what we think they're going to be as far as the roles that they're going to play even in phase 5 and phase 6. So do you think he's going to remain street or do you want to put him in? I don't see him being mystical, but I can see him probably going back into space to doing like those type of storylines.
I would keep him in street level right now. I
Okay.
wouldn't put it past like Marvel to make that happen.
Mhm.
It just kind of feels like they're trying to slide him out. You know what I mean? In terms of like the way it looks, I don't know. I just had a feeling that they're not going to do too much
They're
more
just
with Hulk.
trying to just go over there.
It just, which is kind of sad to me because we never got like a Hulk standalone movie, and they had a lot of like layers to him. Like I liked the Nat and Bruce storyline, and us kind of getting a better understanding of like what like Bruce wants, not just his like survival mode with like his relationship with Hulk, and
Mhm.
then of course seeing Hulk like in a completely different way than we've ever seen him. Like him, like as an actual being that we kind of all fell in love with. Like his banter with Thor, etc. So I hope they do more with him, and if they do, it's gonna end up leading to like Planet Hulk. Like it just would make sense that that would be like the route.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it being mapped right now. You know?
Okay. Random question. Um, because I think I do have the ability to, I think, add a category here. And I want to, like, because say, as of right now, everybody's kind of landing in street in terms of the order that the system put it in. Because it say, like, the next person up is Bucky Barnes. But before we even get to Bucky Barnes, I do want to gauge you and see where do you feel Janet Van Dyne lands.
I mean, I would put her with street level. Like Janet Van Dyne was the first Wasp, you know, so
Mm-hmm.
I would put her in that same category. Like, um, yeah, if anything, pretty closely to where we will end up putting maybe like. Oh, but I think I kind of see why you're asking because she lived in the quantum realm. Is that what you're wondering?
Definitely. I wasn't talking about the
Uh,
Wasp because in Quantumania, I'm sure she plays a role being that she has powers, you know?
yeah, I just want to say I'm giddy that like eventually I caught it. I'm like, I know what you mean now.
I
You know
think I want to low
something
key add a category saying like, yeah,
interdimensional.
multiversal or like, yeah, interdimensional. I think that makes
I would
sense.
Yes, because multiversal is a completely different thing, you know, and we, as of yet, don't actually have, as from when I'm looking on like the roster, any in like multiversal people just yet because we haven't. I mean, we've met what like two Doctor Strange and the other Wanda,
Uh
you
huh.
know. So I like interdimensional for that category.
Interdimensional. Okay. All right. So, with that being said, I'm just going to place her there. Okay. I know you can't see it on your screen, but as of right now, they're like to the far right, you can see those kind of little circle things, and you can add a category.
I already done did it.
Oh, perfect, great.
I got two categories ready just in case.
Okay. Wait, what are they?
No, the other one just is D.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So, next up,
Captain?
no, no, no. I'm just gonna go
I'm
for
just kidding.
Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay. Are you wait? Is it
I'm
a
I'm
different
I'm
order
kind
on
of
yours, or
jumping.
you're fast
I'm
pick?
jumping
Oh,
around
okay.
right now just
Cool,
because
cool,
I don't
cool.
want to just keep going straight. I want to add some more to the other level. So,
Where would you put Fantastic Four?
in Intergalactic.
Why?
Well, they storylines in both. I guess franchises. They got their powers from space. I think. From there, it's like I know their main villain is Doom, but being that Reed Richards is who he is, I feel like either you've told me or I've heard somewhere that he's done work with Sword, and if anything, I can imagine whoever they decide to cast as Reed Richards or whoever in the Fantastic Four. We already know it's not going to be a origin story, but it's going to be coming during the time of a lot of multiversal stuff, if you catch my drift.
Yes. I'll take it. Let's do it. Let's put it into intergalactic.
Okay. It's not like
Cool.
coming, like, say, towards the very beginning of, like, the MCU, you know, to where everybody's kind of Earth based. Like, it's like, they didn't give us. Wait, did they give us a date or they just announced it again?
For Fantastic Four,
Yeah.
they gave us a day. I have it right here. Hold on.
Okay.
I got all my docs right here. And also, when it comes to Fantastic Four, they did announce that it's not going to be an origin story. Like, it's
Oh,
going
that's
to
what I
kind of be
said.
a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
more down the road. So
Mm-hmm.
that's, yeah, like we're not just going to see them, like you said, like from human to powered. Like, they might already be like very
Right.
much involved in intergalactic events. So yeah, I'll take that. Let
Okay.
me. Oh, here we go. DC. No,
No what? No date?
no. I clicked the wrong thing. Okay.
Oh.
So right now, what they have. Oh, you know what's so funny? So this is set to come out 1 month exactly after Joker, the sequel of the Joker. So this is November 4th, 2024.
Okay. And 2024 is going to be a big year. I feel like, if anything, Marvel wise, just because that's, let's say, 2 years from now, and I know we got what we got in Comic Con, but like you mentioned before, D23 is coming up, and I can imagine they had some things in their pocket that they wanted to release in D23. So I think we're gonna get a couple more 2024 projects that have to deal with the upcoming Secret Wars.
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I was gonna say, being that DC didn't give us a whole heck of a lot, and by that I mean basically nothing
Mm-hmm.
in Comic Con, I wonder if after the like gasping and alarming and absurd amount of announcements that we got from Marvel, that they were like, okay, we need to come up with something. And so they're like, let's just give this arbitrary date of when Joker's going to come out. When the hell have they ever done that? When the hell
It
have they
was
ever given us such a such a you know what I mean, like such a date that's so far out, and on top of it they do it a month exactly from a huge expected film. i
right.
feel like I feel like this is all like as an attack, or not an attack, but as a way to just
Defense,
like
right?
balance. Yes,
They're trying
yeah,
to, just
yeah.
because, like, say with uh DC fandom, right? The last one was last year. They're not having one this year, are they?
I think they will be. It's supposed to be towards the end of the year. I think that's when it
Okay.
happened last time around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then who's to say that if they do, then they can come out with some other announcements, hopefully. But say as of right now, when the two major like comic book movie producers have like Comic Con is like, okay, we're gonna drop something here, and then D23 being so close, because I think it's when it's like in September, or is it in August? It's like around the corner, right?
Let me see. The Disney one is around the corner.
Right.
The
That's that's
DC
that's no.
fandom.
That's what I'm saying. The D23, the Disney one. So
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Marvel is like already kind of lock and loaded and ready to tell us more as far as like other projects. To where now DC, they know D23 is right here, and
It's
now
like 4 days
that
away.
right, and now that it's like, okay, we may have our DC fandom in November or December. I think like them telling us the Joker release date was out of panic, and it was just like, let's just put something out just to kind of hopefully hold over until November so we can tell y'all what else we're releasing at DC fandom.
Exactly. No, 100%. I think that's kind of what they're doing. And that, in addition to the whole Batgirl thing, it's not looking good. Like, it
Right.
doesn't look like the executives at DC or Warner Brothers are doing well.
Right.
You know, but it's okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Hopefully we can squeeze out some good projects before it collapses. DC, we're hoping for you.
Okay. Still jumping around the page. Let's put somebody in the mystical category. I'm just gonna put Strange in there.
All right.
Okay.
And just to add someone on there, let's go ahead and add what's her name? Cleo? Is that her name? I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's in purple and
Yep.
like the white hair.
Mm-hmm.
I might be getting the name wrong,
No,
but
it's
I'm just
Cleo.
gonna put
You're
her
right.
right next to Doctor Strange. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'm gonna put her right next to Doctor Strange for now because it's TBD whose power trumps whose.
Right.
The one thing that is kind of making me want to put her ahead of him is being that she was actually able to seamlessly kind of open a dimension between their two worlds.
So
You know,
easy. It
I
was
don't
just
know.
so, and that's one thing I was just like, oh, she's able just to slice a hole in
Okay.
reality and be like, oh, here, I'm actually from the dark dimension, And I'm just like, okay, like,
She
first
is
off,
like the she's a niece of Dormammu. She's the sorceress supreme of the dark dimension. Like, I'm inching to put her ahead of him, but it's still kind of too early to tell. But how do you feel about it?
say it's too early, but at the same time, I think her story, yes, she's the sorcerer supreme, but she's also the wife of Strange in whatever dimension that she's from, or universe that she's from. And if anything, it could have been like a Sorcerer Supreme, like kind of feeling, you know? Like, let's say if Steven was initially Sorcerer Supreme, he died in that universe, and then she kind of got the title, you know? I don't want to
Well,
necessarily put her.
keep in mind, she's not coming from a different universe, it's a different dimension. So it's not like there's a Doctor Strange in her dimension. Like,
Right, but her
you know what I'm
story
saying?
is that she's like the wife of Stephen Strange. So if do you think that she's gonna be the quote unquote wife of this Strange, or she becomes Sorcerer Supreme here in this universe, but like not here in 616, but let's say uh, it was this Stephen Strange, the 616 Stephen Strange that caused the incursion, right?
Mhm.
So with that being said, isn't the incursions of two universes colliding?
Yes.
So wouldn't that make sense to say that being that it caused an incursion from her universe that she had a strange, and she comes from the dark dimension, but it can be a dark dimension of another universe, and she was
Oh, sure,
coming to this
I'll go with that.
strange because he's the one that caused the incursion.
Sure, I'll go with that. And it's hard to say like what it is,
Right.
it's also, like it could also be that she realized that there's an incursion happening in their respective universe with another universe, and
Right.
so she's uniting their two dimensions of that same universe to help, the situation. I think either one could probably be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, so she is the sorcerer supreme of her dimension in the storylines where, and this is actually a really recent storyline where Doctor Strange dies, she then becomes the sorcerer supreme of
Mm-hmm.
our dimension. So it's hard to say. I'm cool with having her literally just right next to him,
Mm-hmm.
just because it really is TBD, and we can kind of move them around as like a couple because they're kind of equal from what I'll look at right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think either of those like are possible.
Okay.
We know very little.
I gotcha. All right. So, um, doing like a eeny meeny miny mo here. Let's go with uh Nick Fury.
Okay, street level,
Wow.
or where? Oh, hold on. Is this
Wow.
the hold on? No, is this Nick Fury or is this the Skrull Nick Fury? Because I'm just saying this looks like the promo pic for like the other stuff. What what is your call?
This is him without a patch and the gray beard, and this I'm guessing is an image from Secret Invasion. So
Mhm.
that's where I'm just like, is that the reason why you're putting him in Street, because the Secret Invasion is quote unquote on Earth, or would you put him in Intergalactic, being that the last time we actually saw him was on a spaceship?
Well, the thing is, I would still call him street level, like regardless, just because to me, I'm like, well, I don't know. I feel like one shot of him being on a spaceship doesn't change him from being a street level. I
Okay.
don't know. Yeah, this
Okay.
is just my emotions that are based on no objective things. So I
Right.
will yield to your like
No,
categorization.
this is all speculation. Just because at the end of the day, we don't know his relationship with the scrolls, you know. And if anything, yeah, he, like, our theory is like it could have been a scroll kind of pretending to be him on Earth or whatnot while he's in space. But who's to say he's not handling things, I don't know, in space. I'll keep him in street for now. But like, say in terms of street level, we forgot to rank the Hulk, because the Hulk, he's like
I
next to Yelena. So where are we putting him?
I automatically, without even discussing, you just put him in front of Spider-Man. But I'm open to changes if you have some.
Sheesh. I feel like I would put him above Daredevil, just because in No Way Home, the Spidey sense just kept Peter Parker alive. You know what I'm saying? In all aspects, from Doctor Strange attacking him to the other like villains attacking him. So I think for now, I want to put Spider
I'll
Man
take it.
over the Hulk. The spider
You know
sense
what?
is
I
just
will
like
take it.
the ant. He's it's the cheat. I feel like spider sense can beat anything, low key.
And you know something? With that being said, being that he tangled with the Sorcerer Supreme, or former, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
like at this point, I feel like anyone who's in street level will automatically have to bow down to him at this point.
Right.
Like that, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
that's a pretty good brag for Peter Parker. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like yeah.
All
Like
right.
before it was that he tangled with Bucky, right? Like oh, I fought that guy. You know, like I think he was
Mm-hmm.
talking to Ned about it. Right now, this is a brag on a whole different level.
Oh,
So yeah,
sure.
okay,
Definitely.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Um. Okay. Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel.
Intergalactic.
Okay. And as of right now, it's just Fantastic Four in Intergalactic. Would you put her above the Fantastic Four?
See, that's hard to say like as a unit, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But I mean, as of yet, like Captain Marvel has been spoken of as one of the stronger Avengers, like really in conversations with people like Wanda, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of leaning to want to put her ahead of them for now,
Okay.
just because we don't know what we're going to get just yet. Like if I'm looking to compare her to, say, either of the other groups of like the Fantastic Four, I would kind of put her easily as superior. We do know that this is going to be a much more developed and like well-rounded, you know, kind of they've had some years under their belts to, you know, really hone into their skills, the kind of a Fantastic Four, but we don't
Mm-hmm.
know how that's going to look yet. So I kind of do want to put her ahead of them. How do you feel?
Um, I would put her ahead of them based on what we've already seen with Carol Danvers. As far as what she did to Thanos, what she did to Ultron, and no, that wasn't her. That was, I was gonna say Maria Rambeau and Scarlet Witch. But as of right now, I think because of Thanos and Ultron, I would put them over. I mean, put her over the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny? Although the only, well, we've seen her show up so much in this phase without any of it actually being about her necessarily. Like we saw her in like the What If series,
Mm-hmm.
in Shang-Chi, in Miss Marvel. We had her mentioned in WandaVision. So I feel like Captain Marvel has just been talked about so much throughout this whole phase as this high-ranking character
Mm-hmm.
that it's easy to slap her in front of like Fantastic Four for now, you
Okay.
know?
Let's go the Scarlet Scarab.
Where So I feel like I want to put her in mystical, but on the less end. What do you think? Just because like her powers are based on like gods and these thingies, which for
Right.
me like border on mystical. What do you think?
Like though her powers are godlike, I feel like if anything, like say I just put her in mystical, but I think as of what we've seen, because I think it's strength and just like agility and flight now.
Like
I think if anything, she is almost like I kind of mentioned before, like a Egyptian woman version of Falcon, and I know like I'm putting now Captain America into street level, but I would put her into street level as well because we don't know what other powers that she has beyond that. You know, if she can do anything mystically like Harrow did. Harrow had his staff, and I would put Harrow in the mystical level if we had our villains conversation. But as of right now, I think because of who she is and what we've seen, I would put her in street.
see, and I feel like because I agree, we talked about this. Like her powers look like she's like a female Falcon, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, it's because the source of it is something that's mystical. Like
Okay.
it makes me want to put her in mystical,
Okay.
and so you know, with but on like the low end, like I definitely wouldn't put her in the same like say like hierarchy as like Doctor Strange and Cleo and things like
Right.
that. But I would say like
Right.
she's on maybe she's like barely mystical, so she's maybe like the last ranked mystical for now.
Okay.
And then you know as we see more, like maybe we can kind of change it around. But I kind of feel because if we look at Moon Knight, for example,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd want to put him easily in the mystical level for sure. I
Easily?
think her powers. I think so. What do you think?
Mystically, I don't know. Just because, if anything, yes, he has the powers to summon a suit. Actually, no. Yep, I'll put him in mystical. Yep, I'm not even going to argue. I'm throwing him
And
in
as
there
you
right
know,
now. As of right now, he's
okay.
in mystical. So now I would put him above Scarlet Scarab just because
Yeah,
we need more from her.
yeah, totally agree. I feel like she just barely made the ranks.
Right.
You know, she's like on that fight. So, yeah, totally agree.
Okay.
You said you put Winter. I'm sorry, you put Falcon or Captain America in street level right now.
I haven't yet, but I was planning on it.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I thought you like threw him in. I'm like, but where? We got to rank. Where would you say he ranks right now in street level with all the others?
He's somewhere around Daredevil. Would I put him in front of Daredevil or after? I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts?
I kind of feel the same. I kind of feel the same because I think like they are very matched. You know,
Right.
I would definitely put both of them above Yelena,
Mm-hmm.
because they both have kind of like an upper element. Like Falcon's got this like the suit and his shield and all of this, and then like Daredevil, we already talked about him. Um, so I mean, I guess we can almost treat it like Doctor Strange and Cleo, where we kind of have them joined at the hip. Like we
Right.
don't know which one's up or down yet. And maybe when we get like another person, it might help us kind of divvy it up a bit. But I think I'm cool just having him like say next to Daredevil between Yelena, but just
Here's what I'm gonna do.
in
Okay.
that world.
I'm
Okay.
already like I'm putting him above Daredevil. Okay. My reason being is, did you watch Daredevil? Any of it?
Not all of it. I saw some of it.
At least the first season.
Most of the first season.
Okay. So, as of right now, Daredevil, like say first season, I'll just keep it in the first season. He fought. He's an awesome fighter, and yeah, he has the ability to actually see without seeing. But the thing that separates him from Sam, I think, is the suit, and he ended up getting his suit made maybe in the second to last episode of the first season. And though it may be durable, like a Teflon or something like that, it's not vibranium. And when it comes just to fighting, Sam, I think, proved himself in Falcon and the Winter Soldier to be a badass when it comes to fighting. Like him fighting a bunch of super soldiers and even fighting with the new suit, against the French guy. So I think because of his suit being vibranium from Wakanda, that's the only reason why I would put him over Daredevil.
I take it. And also, I don't know why I didn't think of this. I think being that he can fly, I think that immediately puts a one up. So I
Definitely.
think I like, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'll take it. That looks good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Loki.
Loki. I wanted. I don't. Well, now I think he's interdimensional. Where would you put him?
But there goes the question, because
Because I was gonna say intergalactic. That's what I was gonna say. But now he's all in the TVA. Like that's his home. You know,
right.
that's the Loki. If we were talking Loki that passed away at the start of Infinity War,
Mm-hmm.
intergalactic. But
Okay.
we're talking about this Loki. I feel like now that we have the interdimensional category, TVA, I think he belongs there ahead
So
of Janet Van
like
Dyne.
interdimensional, I should hyphenate that with like multiversal, because
Well, the TVA is a dimension. It's not like a. I mean, it explores the different verses, but it's a dimension, isn't it?
it is. I think
But
we
I guess this is a
established
better
that
question for us,
it's a
huh?
dimension of. I think I read it to where they say it's like a dimension of time or whatnot, and with it he broke the timeline of the universe, creating the multiverse. So we can say that the multiverse is different from the TVA.
The TVA.
Yeah. So
And the TVA is a dimension.
sure. So I would put,
Okay.
yes, him above Janet Van Dyne in the interdimensional level.
Solid.
Okay.
Okay.
Then so
Do you want to do Sylvie
yeah,
right
that was
after?
what I was
Since
gonna
that's an
say.
easy one.
So I was gonna say Now, as far as Sylvie's concerned, in terms of power, what do you think?
Sylvie stabbed Loki. So I think the only reason I think I want to put her ahead is because she has like, right now, she's kind of unhinged, and Loki will not go against her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. And also, Loki was learning a lot from Sylvie. So I feel like
Yeah.
Sylvie's powers are a little bit more advanced, even though they're the same. So I kind of want to put Sylvie ahead of Loki on this one right now.
Okay. Wait. I wouldn't say they're the same. I think don't they have different powers? Like to where, let's say he can, let's say, I don't want to say shapeshift, but like kind of disguise himself as somebody to where she full on takes over other bodies. You know?
Well, I mean, I would say they're, what are they called? Variants of themselves. So I would say like their powers are, they're almost the same, but I think they have their own little deviations. But it seems like they each have the capability of learning the way each of them kind of uses their powers, because Sylvie was able to teach Loki how to do like that one thing that he wasn't really able to. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about?
Right.
Like, so
To
I feel
enchant.
like, yeah. So that's why I'm like, I think their powers are the same. I think the variance we've seen between the two may be just because of how they've, each adapted
Mm-hmm.
to using their powers and learned to use their powers. And just from what we've seen, or at least from the things I'm remembering, is what I'll say, because
Yeah.
obviously I don't remember everything from this show. I feel like Sylvie might have like a one up on Loki.
Okay. Okay. So say I want to keep it in the interdimensional level here. If possible, it may be something different, but America Chavez, interdimensional or mystical? Would you say
Which
America Chavez?
You know something? She's multiversal. I bite my tongue. She is our multiversal character. Do you want to do a different category, since that category is going to grow as we go down the phases, I feel?
This is and see this is where the debate ensues because uh sure, if we make a multiversal category, though the TVA is a dimension, I would put Loki in the multiversal conversation just because I don't know why I believe it, but just how the season ended and him meeting another variant of Owen Wilson, I feel like he's in another universe of the TVA where Kang has a statue of himself instead of the timekeepers.
Well, and that's two things, because I thought, and I don't think we know just yet because there's different interpretations of it. Like, I've always thought the TVA was one solid entity, that there wasn't a TVA for every universe. That's what I originally thought. And then I know that there's a theory that it's like every universe has its own TVA,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So if every universe has its own TVA, the TVA itself wouldn't be like multidimensional because it's within that
Correct.
universe.
It's a
You know what I mean?
dimension within it. Yeah, like just
Exactly.
like with the conversation with Clea, I would say she is from a dark dimension, but I think if anything, it kind of falls with that theory of her knowing another strange and her being the wife to that strange of that theory.
Yeah, but like I feel like with Clea, I'm easier to just be like, it's at least from what we've seen, like it's almost an extra step to be like, oh, she's from another universe within that like dark dimension. You know what I mean? It's another step. It's not to say it's not what we're seeing, because it's just not confirmed yet. We
Mm-hmm.
don't know. With the whole like TVA stuff, that one's like really a mystery to me, because of the way that he Who Remains explained what the TVA was, it seemed to me like he created the TVA one after he conquered all the other, or just like won the multiversal war that had
Right.
ensued,
Mm-hmm.
and then he created the TVA one that was in charge of all of them. So if that understanding is implied, then I agree we would switch these guys to multiversal. But then it's like, if you look at the other end and say that there's a TVA for every single multiverse, then we got to keep them into interdimensional. What do you feel like flying into? Because I'm kind of cool with either. I think logically, to me, it would make sense that there's just one TVA. But then I don't know.
Like I'm leaning towards an infinite numbers of TVAs
Okay,
just because of how low key ended. And the TVA is in its respective, like we've called it, pocket
universe,
dimension
yeah.
of that universe. And unfortunately, low key landed in an unknown universe with a brand new TVA that he's not familiar with, you know? So with it, I think low key, as of right now, I would put in the multiversal category. But then, as far as Sylvie's concerned, I like being that we don't, of course, we don't know what season 2 of Loki's gonna be. But the thing that's really throwing me off is the TVA dimension, the quantum realm, the the uh, the dark dimension. Hence why, like, if anything, Clea could go into the interdimensional level if we want to talk about it. You know?
Oh, you know something? Let's do that.
Okay.
Did we make things more complicated by adding more categories? Is that what we did to
No, it's
ourselves?
fine. Like, and like, say if anything, like we can just continue to build from here. So say as of right now, Clea, she's in the interdimensional level, but now where will we put her? Will we put her at the top above Sylvie and Loki, or are we leaving Loki and Sylvie here? Talk to me. Like, what do you think?
If we're leaving Sylvie and Loki in interdimensional, let's just say, I would probably still put Cleo above because she's kind of ranked like Doctor Strange,
Correct.
and I feel like Doctor Strange would kind of run Sylvie and Loki for their money in a
Okay.
sense, you know?
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
Okay. All right. So far right now is just America and multiversal, and I'm sorry. I just want to drag Loki down. So Loki's with her, and in terms of, wait, first off, are you? Because I'm not really looking at you. You're over here on this screen. So tell me, are you hating right now or like like?
If we move Loki to multiversal, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like we would have to move Sylvie into multiversal because then if we're using that rationale, keep in mind Sylvie lived in different multiverses right before they were flipped away for her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to use that logic for Loki, then we'll just have to drag Sylvie with it,
Okay.
and I'm okay. I'm kind of because I think I honestly switch my opinion when it comes to the TVA because it is a TBD right now,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's like there's several for every whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just move them as a couple, and we'll stay there for now. And as we know more, we can always change it up.
Okay. So
Okay.
being that America uh had a fist fight with Wanda, we already see some extent to where her power can be, and if controlled, do you think that she would be over Sylvie and Loki or behind?
It's actually really interesting, right? Because Sylvie and Loki would use the little pod thingies to kind of jump into different dimensions, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm. That was the
Almost
reason why they
like,
got stuck on that purple planet.
yeah, yeah. So it's almost like that one thing that they were missing were her powers, which I'm just kind of thinking
Yeah,
out loud
I
right now.
think that
But
makes sense. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to put her above because she matched somewhat like the Scarlet Witch,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like, yeah,
Okay.
like I kind of want to put her ahead because of that. I think she's still young and she needs to still develop her powers and learn more from them. But I think that alone would justify her being kind of on the top right now. What do you
Right.
think?
Then that's the thing. Like, as far as America goes, like she can easily go into mystical being that she is in. What's the name of that place? Uh, Training. She's over there training. Yeah,
Kamartaj?
Carmitage or whatnot. But at the end of the day, her powers are like multiversal powers, and she, if anything, could be a huge part to play against Kang the Conqueror because of her powers. You know.
Yep, yep, yep. Agreed.
Okay.
Okay. I'm liking where things are looking.
All right, I want to kind of keep. I'm gonna bring it back to easy. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to Bucky Barnes here. Okay,
Okay.
is that street?
Well, uh, it has to be street.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's an easy. I feel like the street level ones are so much easier to categorize. At least to decide that it's in that category, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then I feel like it's harder to rank them within it because I think looking at Bucky, I'm like, okay, I definitely feel like he's where like Winter Soldier and Daredevil are.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to put him above Daredevil because he is actually enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then it's like, okay, do you put him above or below
Captain
um,
America.
Cap?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think that's what that show is all about. That like we've talked about the whole passing of the mantle and everything like that, and I feel like being that now Sam is Captain America instead of Bucky playing that role, I think both of them are rocking vibranium, but Bucky he is enhanced. He has super strength and speed.
See, I feel like title is what keeps Cap ahead. But if you're looking at the actual powers, rip off the suit and Bucky is just gonna you're done. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
First off,
I
wait,
kind
let
of
me
want to
stop you right
put go
there
ahead.
because say, uh, whatever USA agent, like he enhanced individual, he broke apart
Okay.
an American
Okay.
made, Falcon suit, I don't think
Fair.
Bucky could break Wakandan, you know what I'm saying? That vibranium, I don't know.
Say less. I'm on board.
Okay.
I'm on board. You won me.
All right.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. Um Okay, let's talk mystical real quick. I think my next person that I would want to put in mystical is somebody that I have zero knowledge about. Okay, so maybe you can enlighten us, and that is the Black Knight.
Okay. I know very little. We can definitely put him in mystical. So basically, the character that we meet in Eternals is a descendant of an uncle who wielded like the mantle of the Black Knight. It's a curse. The curse kind of follows the sword, and that's as much as I can remember,
Okay,
really.
right.
So we can put him under mystical, and I don't. I mean, his powers remind me so much. So like the powers kind of fall back all the way into like King Arthur kind of times.
Right.
So it's like a long kind of passing of the mantle in that respect there. So if we do put him mystical, I just feel like it's going to be hard to rank them
Mm-hmm.
because we don't really know the full extent of his powers. I kind of want to say it's easily going to be better than Red Scarab
Okay.
or Scarlet Scarab. So I'd be cool putting him above that. But I don't know if I would put him above Moon Knight just because I can't. There's nothing for me to base that on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. 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 And that's the thing. Like, I know he's coming. People, like, initially when they saw it was the guy from Game of Thrones, they're like, oh my gosh, he's playing the Black Knight. But I have no
I'm
idea who the
people.
Black Knight is. But at the same time, initially I didn't know he was playing that until the very end. And then I feel like the reveal of Blade almost kind of trumped that for me. Like, it's like, oh, it's Blade in the background. Like, I don't give a shit about the Black Knight. Sorry, Black Knight, but Blade is here, you know? I don't know.
Understandable. Understandable. No, 1000%. Do you want to not rank him? Like, do you want to wait until we actually see him, or how do you feel?
I would put him in the mystical, and I would leave him on the tail end just simply for the fact that as of right now, he's kind of like an honorable mention, to where we got to see his sword and we got to kind of see how it reacted to him almost touching it towards the end. So we know that something is dark about that, and it has me curious. And I'm sure with that sword, it's almost going to be similar to uh, the Necro sword that we just saw in Love and Thunder, to where that's going to be the source of the Black Knight's power.
Yep.
Okay,
Oh,
so
oh, okay. Sounds good.
okay,
I like it.
all
I
right.
like it.
Let's keep it going. White Vision.
This is a hard one.
I was just like, what is she doing?
I'm like, no. This is kind of a hard one because if it was just Vision alone, I would almost say mystical because of the Mind Stone,
Hmm.
but I kind of want to put him at street level.
Okay.
I don't know why. Like something makes me want me to because he's not interdimensional. He's not multiversal. He's
Hmm.
not intergalactic. So it would fall between street level and mystical, and I don't have much justification to put him in mystical other
Hmm.
than it feels like it would be. Where do you fall on that?
Say if he's street, would you put him over the Hulk?
I would put it, yeah, up, yeah.
Yeah.
He can go through things, so I feel like he could also go above Spider-Man. What do you think?
And that's like, yeah, he can kind of go through things, but I'm sticking with the spider sense trumping everything. Like
Okay.
like anybody on
Ah,
this list, I'm sorry, you're not gonna see Peter Parker, and it's unfortunate. Not even unfortunate because I never really thought of Spider-Man like that until
no way
No
home.
Way Home. Like I would think, yeah, he's strong and Webb's cool. He's like a cool kid, but it's until he gets seriously injured, like stabbed or something, where if he gets maimed or something like that. Actually, no. Uh, amazing. The not the Amazing Spider-Man. What's the animated movie that's already out that's coming out with a sequel?
Um. Oh. Why am I skipping? Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse. Tell me what happened to the original Peter
Into
Parker. I know
Spider-Verse.
that he died, but what was the? Do you happen to remember what happened between him and
Yes.
the big guy?
Yeah. Kingpin basically just like smashed him to death.
Damn, and the Spider Sense couldn't.
The way you said that. You were so unimpressed.
Oh man, and that's the
Yeah.
thing is like you lose to Kingpin.
But this is the thing. It's like that whole theory. It's like, oh, who will win against who? It's whoever's writing the story,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, I don't know, but because keep in mind, Miles Morales, who wasn't even a seasoned Spider-Man, was able to beat up Kingpin. So it's not necessarily a status of like, I don't know. I think that was a situational thing. That was
Okay.
situational. I don't know.
And I
I
think
don't
he
know.
may have been. I think honestly, he may have been distracted because he sensed the other Spider Sense from Miles Morales. Yes.
It was
Because Miles was
so
there. I remember he was there in that
Miles was
scene,
there,
and I think they both
but
like had their senses kind of go off at the same time. I don't know.
yes, because he realized like, oh, you're one of me, and then he's like, oh, I'll come back and show you the ropes, and then he never did because he went off, and
Hmm.
then he got, yeah,
Okay, so
he died.
as far as White Vision, we can revisit it, but he's
Under
still
for now.
under Tom Holland. Okay, right now Tom Holland's
Got it.
unbeatable.
Roger that. We're like romanticizing him so much. We're just like, no, the Spidey sense,
Yep.
the Spidey sense. But I mean, it's hard. It's a good argument because he took out Doctor Strange.
Hmm.
Doctor Strange was gone for the whole film because of the Spidey sense, and he locked him into this like, you know what I mean? It's yeah. So it's yeah. I'm cool with that.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
And okay, the Eternals as a team.
Well, they would have to be intergalactic,
Okay.
right? Because they come from I mean, I want to put them underneath Carol Danvers
Okay.
because I think she could take out all of them.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of each of their respective powers. Like, I mean,
I
yeah,
remember
like
there
I
was
want.
the one strong guy that ended up passing. I forgot his name, but being that he was putting up, I feel like to me like the best fight against all of the what are they called?
Deviant?
Yeah, the deviants. I don't know. I feel like if anything, I don't want to say it's an even match, but I feel like he could probably do some damage to Carol Danvers. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, he's strong. She's strong, and 1,000 other things. So even on that one, it'd be kind of, I don't know.
Well, let's say
I want
let's
to put
say
her ahead for now, but there's a chance that they could beat her. We just there's
here's
there's
how
not
I would
enough.
counter. Okay, and I would counter with the fact that I'm sticking to the big Asian guy giving her a good fight. Okay, because at the end of Eternals, Harry Styles announced that he was the brother of Thanos. Thanos being quote unquote a half, let's say, Eternal. And Carol Danvers fought a half Eternal, but she never really fought, that full blooded, you know what I'm saying? Full blooded Eternal that could probably be technically stronger than Thanos. So, if anything, I feel like, yes, we can duke it out. One can go above the other, but I feel like it would be close.
I love all that, like, ups and downs in terms of logic. 1,000%, I give it to you. So I like it.
Okay.
Yes.
It's somewhere, like, they're both up there. They're top two. Let's just say they can be easily, like, switched out,
Yeah. No. I'll follow that line of logic for sure.
Okay.
Do you, just for the sake of this one, how do you want to order it then? For
right now, Carol's first.
Carol's ahead. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a case, yeah, and we haven't seen that just yet. We need more. We need more Eternals just to let them figure it out. You know what's funny? Although I don't want like another Eternals movie just yet, I do want to see just like a film with like Angelina Jolie's. I forget which one she leaves with, and then like Thanos' brother. Like I just want to see that adventure tick on because it's a very Guardians of the Galaxy-esque adventure. Speaking of which. Let's bring in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. Intergalactic, of course.
Definitely.
Where would you rank them in respect to, say, Eternals and Captain Marvel?
Whoa there. Like, I feel like the only conversation here, as far as on that level, is between Guardians and Fantastic Four. Because right now I have Guardians. I just put it into the category, so it's to the right of the Fantastic Four. But I don't see them going above either Eternals or Captain Marvel. And I know you love Guardians. I know you love Gamora. But I don't see them in terms of power rankings, like being up there like that.
See, this is what I will say. I don't disagree. You're totally right. But look. Like individually, none of them stand up against any of these guys. Let's just be real, right? They're like a band of idiots,
Sure.
And then there's Gamora.
Sure.
However, the family, they took down a god. They took down a Kree wielding a
Are you legit about to Dom Toretto this? Wait, but say that's a family kind of put together in the first Guardians where Fantastic Four is a legit family, minus I forgot the Thing. The Thing's not related, but everybody else is related.
They are family. If you're trying to say Guardians of the Galaxy are not a family,
I'm not saying. I'm just saying two different types of family to where you're actually talking about like putting them above an actual family. Just for the sake that the Guardians are a family and they took out a god,
What I'm saying is that they've done a lot as a team. Like, if you individually look at them, I don't think any of them, like, would even come close to it.
Okay.
I mean, we got Captain Marvel on this. But as a team, they've taken out a lot of people. So I wouldn't easily be like, oh, I think that, they're ranking for the bottom. Like, I feel like there's a debate to say they could kind of go up against any of these guys. I don't know.
So, intellectually, Rocket Raccoon versus Mr. Fantastic. Like you're putting Guardians above that intellect, you know what I'm saying? We can't just like throw him out. And it's like I know we got it's like a band of idiot versus a team of enhanced individuals, I'm not trying to debate you to say that they're not, and I love the idea that Guardians can go above them, and maybe they can find a way to defeat the Eternals just because they've defeated Ego and everybody else, and even held on to an Infinity Stone to defeat Ronan or whatnot. But that's the debate. Like I don't have
You're basing this off logic. Nothing in Guardians of the Galaxy is necessarily logical. They literally win out of like sheer will and just a great plan. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, logically speaking, 1,000%. Like, we could easily just put them at the end, because
Mm-hmm.
many of the times they're just kind of like the almost like the butt of the joke of the galaxy, but
Mm-hmm.
they're also the Guardians of the Galaxy that have done a lot. So I'm cool either way.
Where are
I
you
just
putting
want
them?
to
Are you
debate
putting them
it.
at the top?
I could easily put them at the top. That's
Okay.
without
They're
logic.
there. They're
You know
there.
what I'm saying?
They're at the top. They're above Carol Danvers. Cool.
There you go.
Okay.
We can
Uh,
put them anywhere, and I would say it's fine. But yes, this makes me happy.
I'm gonna dumb it down a little bit and bring what, like, I keep bringing up his name, John Walker into the mix.
I think he's the last one in street level.
The last person from the bottom, or are you putting him last?
No, I'm putting him like all the way at the end of street level, as in like behind Elena Belova.
Really? Over
Yeah.
Nick Fury?
Oh, you know
Under
something?
Nick
I
Fury?
forget. I forget that he has. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot to put Nick Fury on here. That's why he's like he's on here. But you know something? I did forget that he is now enhanced. So I
Mhm.
think I would put him under Daredevil.
Okay. I think
Um,
Daredevil
what
can
do you
beat him up.
think? Yeah.
Yeah. I think is that easy. Daredevil can
Okay,
beat
cool.
him up. All right. Wong.
Wong, mystical.
Okay.
He is the Sorcerer Supreme of now,
Mhm.
but does that mean he's better than Doctor Strange? This has been a debate that we talked about, actually, so this is kind of interesting.
Okay. So to be clear, you're putting him over Moon Knight, Scarlet Scarab, and the Black Knight. So he's right now he's number 2, and the debate is him or Doctor Strange.
Yeah, where do you fall on that? Because I know we've talked about that briefly. Like, he is the Sorcerer Supreme,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's like the best, because he did kind of get the position out of a loophole, you know?
He got the position out of the loophole, but that was my argument with everybody else in terms of that was in the Carmitage battle, you know. And when it comes down to it, I feel like he's the closest thing in terms of maybe mystics when it comes to Stephen Strange. But is he better? I don't know. I like it's debatable because I feel like those two they study the same magic, even though one is more careful and one is more egotistical, you know. Like it's hard. It's hard to kind of judge those two, being that they're both the Sorcerer Supreme, you know, one at one time and one at the other, you know. They're both masters of the mystic arts. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right. I think that is the debate. It's hard to say. It really is. I was it Wong that came into the fight, and is that why Doctor Strange didn't get like all beat up by that little one-eyed creature in Multiverse of Madness? All I remember is that when he arrived, people were like, "Wong," you know, and then like,
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because
I'm
there was
just
a
trying
time
to
to
find a
where
situation.
you're right. You're correct. Stephen Strange had got knocked out, and then Wong came in to do some kung fu with some mystics.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some very acrobatic moves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of any situation where it would give us an idea of like the rank there. But I mean, I wouldn't mind, say, treating them kind of like how we're looking at Loki and Sylvie right now, where it's kind of like maybe one's above the other, but there's like a potential for it to easily switch at any given moment,
Sure.
really, you know?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel? Like, do you want to just leave Wong next to Strange,
Yeah.
but open to kind of moving up and down?
Sure.
Okay, so real quick before we continue, you know what I just realized what we did with the intergalactic category in Guardians of the Galaxy? I feel like we just had a mini super fight.
That's what this is.
Debate.
This is almost.
This is what this is.
That's what this is. It's like a super fight just to see who would win, and you argued that it's not the logic that's going to win the battle. It's
It's like when I almost won the game against. I had a marshmallow. I had a freaking marshmallow, and I almost convinced everybody that I could be a freaking dragon on like jet skis and whatever. I was very close. Like the debate was on fire, and so I just feel happy because it feels like I basically made you guys believe that a marshmallow could be a
But
dragon.
say
And I feel
what you're
successful.
saying, though it may be based on will. I'm gonna say even the Guardians, especially over Fantastic Four, I would say that's also logically sound just because of how arrogant Mr. Fantastic was in Multiverse of Madness, you know? And he tried to base it
Mm.
off of logic. He's like, oh, well, yeah, she may have the book, but we just don't logically
Guardians of
we
the
know it
Galaxy
was
has
you.
street smart.
Sure. Okay, so Guardians
Yeah,
wins the super fight as of right
for now.
now in the intergalactic
Yeah.
level.
I just love this so much. This makes me so happy. Okay. We're moving down the line here.
Okay.
Okay. On your end, does it show three different Thors?
Weird. Yeah. yes. Yes, there are three different Thors. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Wait, did you do that? Was it you?
I think I up like cause say it was like a batch upload. Like I actually had to upload all these pictures to this website.
Oh,
So
okay,
I didn't
gotcha.
realize that I uploaded Thor twice. I mean, there were two more times on
Right.
top of that. Yeah.
That's
Um,
okay.
but let's being that we're here, where are we putting Thor?
Thor.
Because in terms of right now, he's kind of like you mentioned with Asgard, it's a mixture of science and magic, and I feel like if anything, it could be a mixture of mystical and intergalactic. So where would Thor go?
I feel like he carries that same kind of feel of Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like there's when there's a will, there's a way, and it just happens. But he actually has like powers that can trump a lot of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, let's just say wherever we put Thor, if I don't know, if we put Thor above Guardians of the Galaxy, then we have to re-rank Captain Marvel because keep in mind, Captain Marvel didn't she actually take out Thor in like one of the What If series?
I think
Did she?
I believe they fought, but he had Milner and he was actually fighting with
Oh,
her,
just
you
kidding.
know?
Oh,
So,
then that doesn't change anything. Okay, so
right.
in that case, I mean, I kind of want to put Thor above the Guardians of the Galaxy. What do you think?
In Intergalactic?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, but then there's like,
I don't know. Just because now
no, I'm gonna
let's
stick with
talk
my
about
guns.
what's your guns?
Guardians above, always and forever, because of the same logic we used for Spider-Man. And um, Thor, I think the debate would be then from like Captain Marvel and like Eternals, because Eternals are like descended from the Celestials.
Mhm.
Thor is a god. Like,
Mhm.
where does? Wow. Okay, we got some. Okay, you talk.
So here's where uh the super fight ensues because as of right now I'm putting Thor in between Captain Marvel and the Eternals. Now I think if anything this is going to come between Thor and Captain Marvel, and I want to more so talk about their fights with Thanos. And
Hmm.
with that, unfortunately, even with Thor wielding both Mjolnir and the axe, Captain Marvel, I can say, put up a better fight up against Thanos.
Yes. Okay, I'll take that 100%.
Okay.
And that was also not just Thor, but in that fight, it was Thor, Cap, and Iron Man. And even then, they
Mm-hmm.
were not all ready for Thanos. But Captain Marvel was the next to Wanda, the one who was almost going to take him out. So
Right. Like,
yep,
cause
yep, yep.
say if Thanos didn't have the Power Stone, or no, or the Purple Stone, then yeah, Captain Marvel I think would have beat him right there.
Yeah. And, yep, I think yep. I like that I like the use of Thanos to kind of determine that
Yeah.
ranking. Solid.
Okay. Um, Ant-Man and the Wasp as a team.
Um, See, before we introduced the no, I would still kind of put them at street level. Would you? Like, where do you feel? I mean, obviously, with this next film, they're gonna end up being interdimensional.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, should we just put them there already? I don't know. What do you think?
It's debatable. Just
I
because
okay.
of um I can agree at putting them in street level, okay? And the only reason why Janet Van Dyne is in interdimensional is because of the powers that she got from the quantum realm. Because if she never went to the quantum realm, then she would definitely be street level.
Street
But
level.
as of right now, Ant-Man and the Wasp, we haven't, of course, we haven't seen uh, what's going to happen, or we don't really know what's going to happen in Quantumania. We know that the quantum realm is related to it, but I would still maybe put them into the street level just because of their lack of actual supernatural powers.
Sure, I'll use that rationale behind it. I feel like with Ant-Man and the Wasp, I want to put them like one under Hulk, but one above like not one above. I'm sorry that the language was wrong, but I would like to put them like after Hulk. So in that case, above uh Falcon or
Why?
Cap. Do you remember like the moonroof like fight that Ant-Man had against Falcon and
At
Ant-Man
Avengers
won?
compound?
Yeah, like I know that the argument could be that well Falcon now has an enhanced suit, but Ant-Man has also like kind of just become a bigger badass since then because that was him barely really mastering things. So they both kind of like developed that as their heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And so just because of that fight, I'm gonna say that I like to place them above Sam.
Okay. And the only way I can't even debate it just because it's gonna come back to the fight in Civil War because oh no, he didn't catch Falcon. He caught Rhodey. I'm thinking about Ant-Man when he grew
Mm.
into the huge what is he called when he's big? Is he still Ant-Man or is he like is he called something different?
Well, there's Colossus. That's a different character though, but I think that's like hold on, I'm just gonna look it up really quickly. Not
Colossus is
Colossus.
that
Not
who
thinking of a
oh
different name.
oh
Goliath. Is
okay.
it Goliath? They talk about it in Ant-Man
Right,
and the
that's
Wasp.
who Lawrence Fishburne played because he said he grew to a certain amount, and then Scott Lang was just like, "I did this amount of feet or something," you know. So,
Yes. So
um,
that character is Black Goliath. But in terms of like Ant-Man himself, when he goes back, I don't think he has a different name. Yeah, yeah, that's what I was kind of
okay.
leaning on.
So I will say just because of that growth factor, I would put him over Captain America. You know. But like
Yes.
say if he didn't have the ability to grow as of right now today in phase 4 and beyond, um initially being introduced to Ant-Man, of course you weren't expecting a tiny human and Falcon was kind of caught off guard, but I think if anything the match would maybe a little even today, but this is again the team of Ant-Man and the Wasp, so I would put them both above Falcon or Captain America.
Roger that. Yes, I
Okay.
like it.
All right. Kate Bishop.
Street level.
Okay.
I wanna. I mean, I kind of want to put her above, well, below Yelena Belova.
Because that
Um,
elevator scene.
yeah, it's just like I mean, like you see that Kate Bishop is still kind of like going like there. She's able to tango with Yelena,
Mm-hmm.
but Yelena does it with such like ease that because of that, I'm like I kind of have to put her above
Okay.
Kate Bishop, you know.
Okay.
But yeah,
Echo.
I would put her. I don't know. I kind of want to put her below Kate Bishop.
Okay.
Would you put her above or below Loki? I mean,
Her, like, I
Nick
would say,
Fury.
because I would say, as of right now, I back to the super fight. Unfortunately, Nick Fury's not winning. She put up against fight. I mean, a decent fight, not really a good fight, but a decent fight up against the Ronin. But Ronin is actually, we're gonna talk about him next. But Ronin is badass, being that, you know, he is who he is.
He's Ronin.
Uh,
He's Ronin. Yeah.
but even with that conversation, would you put uh, Hawkeye above Yelena Belova?
I don't know. He was shaking pretty a lot in his boots when he realized it was a Black Widow, you know. But I don't know. It's I feel like Yelena would have beaten him if he didn't kind of reach her with like the reality of like I'm not the one who killed like your sister. You know what I mean? Because when they were on the ice, but then again, his intention wasn't to hurt her either.
Right.
You know, he was just trying. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Where would you fall on that?
Being that these are neither enhanced individuals, I would say it's evenly matched. Just because at the end of the day, they're both let's say martial artists with gadgets that do similar things. Like he has arrows that can electrocute. She has her wrist thing that can shoot out electrocution or whatnot. So if anything, I feel like they're both on the same level. Do I think that if anything, she can beat Clint? I don't know. Just because I'm trying to think of his fight with Black Widow in Civil War. You know, they both were holding back, but no matter what, I feel like Clinton's a badass. Not to say that she's not either, you know? I don't know. Again, this is one of those I don't know moments for me.
Well, I will say this: and I was also kind of trying to think back of maybe fights between him and Nat, since we've seen more of that than Yelena and him.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at like Avengers, when he was brainwashed by Loki,
Mm-hmm.
and then him and Nat are fighting, ultimately Nat got the better of him, right?
Yeah.
In order for him, and then she dragged him to the side to be able to kind of like, you know, clear out the brainwashing or whatever,
Yeah.
which is just like she hit him hard on the head.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like the Black Widow training is kind of superior.
Okay.
But it's also
I'm not opposed
that.
to that. Yeah. So right now, Yelena is over Clint, and Clint is over Kate Bishop and Echo and Nick Fury.
Lovely.
Okay.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Almost there. I think her name is pronounced Xialing, and that is Shang-Chi's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Where I would put her in street, but I feel like after what we saw in Shang-Chi, she honestly, for me, I think she could probably beat Yelena. I think if anything,
I'm ranking her like I'm kind of debating where she lands between Daredevil and like Winter Soldier. Like I'm
I
kind
put her
of
in the middle just now.
her.
I like that just because the only reason why I would put her against or above Daredevil is though he's enhanced with his senses, but that aside, he doesn't have super strength, so that's something that she can match with him, and her kung fu is just crazy, and plus she's learning more from that other dimension, you know what I'm saying, working with all those new weapons that we've kind of talked about in the past. So I would put her above Daredevil, but it's Bucky's super strength that keeps him above her.
Yes, I like that.
Okay. Super Fights by the Comic Cinematic Universe.
We're gonna rename this whole thing.
Dude,
this is so much fun. I'm really liking this. Actually, we gotta do this for DC.
Yeah.
Because they gotta.
Yeah.
They've thrown out hits or misses. They've thrown out heroes at us, so we could definitely use them to rank. That would be kind of fun. But Um, since we just ranked Zhai Li,
Mm-hmm.
why don't we go ahead and do Shang-Chi?
I'm putting him in the top of the mystical level.
The top, so
Mm-hmm.
outdoing Doctor Strange
Mm-hmm.
and Wong.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm curious why.
simply for the fact of the point that I brought up a while ago in terms of why at the gate the voices were calling on to his dad, and it's because his dad had the 10 rings, and the 10 rings were quote unquote the strongest thing that could break through the gate, you know. And if they wanted Doctor Strange, then they would have called to Doctor Strange to break through it, but they didn't, you know. And I feel like that's what my argument was to make him, as far as him being the strongest Avenger, that is the reason why I would put him at the top of the mystical level.
Ooh,
Because as far as what he learned
okay.
in the other dimension too, as far as he's out here airbending now. You know what I'm saying? He's out here doing a whole bunch of other like almost kind of borderline mystical stuff. And that all
Full on mystical, yeah.
added on with the 10 rings. I feel like as of right now, he's the top of the mystical level.
No disagreements on the mystical level. Definitely was shocked that you put him above Doctor Strange, but the logic you kind of gave out, or just was sound. So yeah,
Okay.
we can leave him here for now.
Okay.
And just quick, I'm just so curious. I just want to hear your response. Shang-Chi against Spider-Man.
Man. Uh, Spider-Man's gonna be able to dodge the rings, but I don't see Spider-Man beating him. Uh, Maybe like webbing him up. But it could just just for me be like him versus Steve Rogers, and Steve Rogers outsmarted him. You know, so
Mhm.
it can just be a moment of weakness, and then Shang-Chi puts a move and kicks him where it hurts, just like Steve Rogers did. You know.
Wow, he was so strong, ladies and gents,
He
with the
was.
whole
See, if Steve Rogers
Spidey.
was in this conversation, as far as street
That'd be a
level,
little different.
it's a little different now, you know.
But you
Um,
know something? Actually, obviously Steve isn't in this, but just to kind of have this conversation, keep in mind, Steve fought Spider-Man before Spider-Man became incredibly in tune with his Spidey senses because he really learned to lean on them in Far From Home,
okay.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, like, when we see those powers in No Way Home,
Mm-hmm.
it's not so like, oh, come on, really? Like, that's what gets him to do like, it's understandable because we saw like how freaking amazing they were in Far From Home, you know? So the Cap that fought Spider-Man back in Civil War is like, or I'm sorry, the Spider-Man that fought Cap back in Civil War is not the same Spider-Man we have now. So there could have still been, I think the Spidey senses could have come in there too. But
If
interesting.
we're gonna go into hypotheticals, right? Let's say current
This
Spider-Man.
is all
Yeah.
hypothetical.
But like current Spider-Man, right? As far as being in tune with his Spidey sense or whatnot, and then versus Steve Rogers, who now wields Mjolnir. I'm sorry. I'm still
Ooh,
putting Captain America over Spider-Man, you know, just because of the
fair argument.
Mjolnir
Fair
aspect.
argument.
Yeah. So,
Do this game.
mm-hmm.
I'm living for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
All right.
let's I was gonna say Thor, but just because he's on the list again.
All right,
Why
yeah.
don't we rank Hank Pym since he's the last one on there from the Ant-Man lineup, if you will.
He's going to have a part in Quantum Mania, but he's not on Janet Van Dyne's level. Either he's like bottom of
Street level.
interdimensional, or oh, I was gonna say,
Oh.
well, and that's the thing, because he built his machine to where he can travel into the quantum realm as well, you know. So um it's either between that and street level.
I feel like it makes more sense for him to be ranked in street
Okay.
level. Like under Nick Fury.
Okay.
Because if we're gonna do the super fight thing, I just kind of think like Nick Fury could take him out, no suits. You know, 'cause he
You're
doesn't
over here
have
thinking
to at
about
this
Nick
point.
Fury from What If, when it was really low key, and then like that Nick Fury beat up Loki doing some like some kung fu moves, you know.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So I'm thinking Hank Pym's gonna be right below Nick Fury in
Okay.
street level.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in terms of, let's keep it with the older generation. Where would you put Thunderbolt Ross?
Oof. I would say behind Hank Pym.
Well, there, because he's about to be Red Hulk. You know what I'm saying? Whoever they cast, he's about to be the Hulk.
Well, at that point, then he'd be battling Hulk all the way in like the top three.
Sure.
At that point.
Sure.
So,
and
where do you want to? Yeah.
Because as of right now, I feel like if we're gonna talk about the team, the Thunderbolts, I would put him over USA Agent and Yolanda, just because of the Red Hulk. You know, I know status wise he's not that, but that's where that story's going. You know, so I feel like if he's in the street level, he'd be closer in that top 6 area, like just because of his strength. You know, I don't think he's going to be as intellectual as Bruce Banner is right now. I can see him more so being kind of like Abomination, but
right,
I don't know.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Well, if we rank him not as
Red Hulk,
like
but
him,
just him as
yeah,
an old man.
it just depends. I guess we have to debate. Like, do we want to rank him as Red Hulk, or do we want to debate him as himself an old man? Like,
Right.
because then that's gonna change things. I feel like if it's just Ross, then I think he's under Hank Pym, because we know Hank Pym can throw a punch. But if we are ranking him as Red Hulk, then there's a little bit of a debate, because I feel like, I mean, would Red Hulk be able to be Ant-Man and the Wasp, the Winter Soldier? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so which thread do you want to follow?
I put him into this conversation just because of the Red Hulk.
Then in that case, I don't know if it's gonna be Red Hulk. I kind of want to put him underneath Hulk, because I feel like those would be the closest powers,
Okay.
you know, and I think it would fall into intellect, in which case I would agree with you that Hulk would have the one up, you know? What do you think?
I'm with it. I'm all
Okay.
about it. And it's like, it's weird, like looking at the pictures and you see like old man above youth, you know, but
This
like
is my yes. Visually, I'm like, dude, this is
right.
Someone's gonna look at that and they're gonna be like, they're stupid.
Yeah, no, we're talking the Red Hulk, folks. We're not talking old man here.
No.
We know that, like in Black Widow, she revealed that he has some type of cancer or whatnot. So we're just assuming that he is going to find a serum that's going to turn him into the Red Hulk to keep him from dying. So that's the only reason why he's in this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, because if it wasn't the Red Hulk, then yeah, he'd be down with Nick Fury and Hank Pym, because those two, though they are who they are, Hank Pym, he's not suiting up. He's not doing anything Ant-Man like Scott Lang like, you know. And right now I feel like Nick Fury, he's more so on the political side, you know. He's not doing anything physical to fight anybody. He's just kind of working angles right now with the Skrulls, right? So if we're talking old man Ross, then he would be at the bottom, but I'm more so bringing him up there because of the future of the MCU.
I love when I asked you, you're like, but I the only reason I brought him is because he's Red Hulk.
Right.
That was so good. No, yeah, absolutely. And so I think if that's how we're ranking, I feel like it would just make sense for us to rank him close to where the Hulk is, you know, because that's the most matched power. So that's perfect. I'm down with that.
Yeah, and I think just with the announcement of the Thunderbolts actually being confirmed, I think that's the main reason why I put him into this conversation.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. And so, since we're in the Hulk family, why don't we bring She-Hulk into the
Okay.
conversation?
Okay.
I mean, I would assume that, I feel like she would definitely rank amongst the Hulks.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to put her above Red Hulk if we're
Okay.
gonna fall into that intellect conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And below Hulk, just because he's teaching her the ropes, right? She doesn't know how to use her powers, so
Right.
at this point, I feel like he's still superior.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I agree. No debate there.
Yay. Okay.
Wait, hold on. Actually, the only thing that I don't know, uh, just kind of tell me like her story. We don't know if it's gonna be verbatim in the show, but her story is she got into an accident and she had a transfusion from Bruce.
Yes, and that's how she becomes a
Okay.
Hulk because her blood is contaminated. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like 3% of her is Hulk. Like her whole her whole body is contaminated. So
Yeah.
she can potentially be as strong as the Hulk.
Yeah, like that's why I think at some point that can then be debated like where that stands. But being that we do see Hulk like kind of teaching her the ropes, trying to get her to control her powers,
Yeah.
like he definitely has the one up on her right
Okay.
now for sure. But yes, like she does have like the I said no words there. The potential
Mm-hmm.
to move up on that ranking. But for now, I think I like where she's at. Yeah.
Okay. I want to get out of street level just for a second. We only got a few people left, so let's go ahead to Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan.
She
I
she
mean,
she she
she's
works with dimensions. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Well, her race is interdimensional, but she hasn't been to a different dimension at all herself. She didn't open a gateway, she didn't enter into a different dimension. Her lineage is interdimensional, but that I feel like her powers lie more in like the mystical
Okay.
level from what it looks like.
Okay.
But that's kind of how I'm interpreting her powers, which are still
Mm-hmm.
TBD. And if we put her in mystical, based on the conversations we've been having in her story, in her show, where it's like it seems like her powers are infinite, she might be all the way in Shang-Chi like level. I don't know.
Uh, no, I would never put her. Uh, I wouldn't put her against Shang-Chi just because. Yeah, she was able to defend herself against a team of the Jinn. But offensively, um, I don't know. I think Shang-Chi can get around these energy shields and find a way for the rings to get around that too. I don't think she can defend anything from Shang-Chi. Uh, but in terms of what we learned from Miss Marvel, right? Because I don't even know if I would put her above Strange or Wong. So right now that leaves Moon Knight, Scarlet Scarab, and the Black Knight. I'm not sure where I would put her in the mystical level.
See, if her powers were just that, like in her comics, she'd be in street level
Right.
easily.
Right. It was this show that just.
But then,
Right.
I mean, I don't know. It's like you have the hard life. You have this ability to travel time, apparently. That's the element that I'm like, if she's able to travel time, which seems to be exactly what she
Mm-hmm.
did, which makes no sense. Not only that, but her grandmother apparently summoned her
Mm.
into it because remember, she's like, oh, you did arrive. You must save.
Yeah.
It was almost like she knew what she was
Mm-hmm.
doing. None of it makes sense. I don't know what to tell you what her powers are. It seems to be unlimited, which has been like our running joke
Yeah.
more so than
Yeah.
anything in the
Mm-hmm.
show. It's hard to say. Like, I think based on what we saw in Shang-Chi, I'm sorry, in Miss Marvel, like, they are coming off as mystical. They're definitely not street
Right.
level, like,
Mm-hmm.
powers. But then it's like, it's hard to rank them because I don't know what the heck they are, you know?
Right. I think the only real question with it being we're gonna have to see more, because I don't want to just base it on the first season, but being that she is of well, half her lineage is of another dimension, I can assume that her story just doesn't end with the Jinn that left here who passed in this season. I feel like if anything, being that Marvel has so much free range with her powers, they may do something to where she may travel to meet the whoever. But actually no, because I don't even think that she'd be able to get in, being that her great grandmother mother was banished from that realm as well, you know, that dimension. So I don't know. It's a real debatable question of what category to actually put her in. But if we're gonna keep her in mystical, then if we're and we've debated that, we're not really debated. We've kind of come to the conclusion that her powers are limitless based on her imagination. I don't think her imagination is as strong as Stephen Strange.
See, I understand that logic and I don't argue it. The I'm leaning on putting her just right above like the is it the dark is it the Black Knight? Is that his name?
Yeah, the Black Knight.
Only because like the reason he is where he is because we don't really know how his powers are going to manifest in the
Mm-hmm.
MCU, and as of now, I don't know how her powers are really manifesting in the MCU. So I kind of want to put her above him, but below Moon Knight, just because I just don't understand what her powers are fully just yet. You know, like she can only really control like the hard lights,
Mm-hmm.
and now she's doing things that are very similar to, visually it's like she's, she did that thing where it actually looks like her arms are growing and it looks just
Right.
like her powers in the comics, which is cool. That element is what seems like she can control. um
But let's say
and that
with that, right? Because now that I think about it, she can do shields, and she can do like platforms that she can step on to run in the sky or whatnot. But we have seen that we've seen Mordo do that, and any master of the mystic arts can do that. Now the only other thing that makes her that I mean different from them is, yeah, she can extend her powers to make it look like she has longer arms, kind of like how she looked in the movies,
comics.
but I mean in the comics. But just after Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, him in the initial fight with the one-eyed little thing, him shooting out looks like dragons and then like huge hands to pull up a light post. I feel like it's almost like an even matchup there. So I would put her above Moon Knight and Scarlet Scarab, but I just don't know how she would match against the Masters of the Mystic Arts.
Okay, I'll put her there, like somewhere smack in the middle, like behind Wong, but above Moon Knight for
Yeah,
now. Cool.
because
Okay,
I think
I
those
like her
powers are
there.
kind of like comparable, even though they're from different sources. I think if anything, she's kind of doing what they're doing, but they're casting spells and she's just thinking of it. You know?
Yes, yes. I like it. I'll keep her
Okay.
there. Um, let's see. Okay,
We have
let's go.
let's
Oh, we're narrowing it
yeah,
down.
it's almost there. I wanna get Blade out the way just because as of right now we know nothing of him. We just know that he's coming. But as far as Blade is concerned, uh, Blade is going to be coming with the vampires, but we don't know where the vampires are coming from just because Sony doesn't know how to handle vampires. So Disney's just gonna have to figure it out. But we had assumed that the vampires were going to be coming from the Darkhold. So do you think the Darkhold is still in play in any universe, not in 616, but in any universe?
Well, keep in mind, and we talked about this. I believe, like, although all the dark holes were destroyed, the way that the MCU has shown it is that the dark holes were just inscribed from the inscriptions in Mount
Okay,
Wundagore, and they didn't destroy all the Mount Wundagores of the universe. So
gotcha.
I think, therefore, the teachings of the dark hold still exist, just no longer in what we know to be the dark
Okay,
hold, but now in like Mount Wundagore of different universes.
okay. So I would put Blade in street level just because we don't know who his villain is. But when it comes down to the previous Blade movies, let's say the original, because I don't want to talk about two or three, but it was never really anything magical like that. Yeah, he had to fight a big bad in the end, but I think it was majority street. So I think Blade is street. Um, and being that he is an enhanced individual, I would put him somewhere kind of near Daredevil and John Walker. I just don't know where I would put him.
Okay. I would kind of maybe put it in the middle for
Okay.
now, just because I don't know why. I just feel like anyone can be a John Walker. Like the vision in
No
my head is
respects.
like him. No. It's just like in the vision in my head is him like whining about like they didn't even have powers,
Yeah.
like referring to the Dora Milaje. And so for that reason in my head, I'm like any of these guys can mess them up, like so. I think if anything, like we can smack him in the middle.
Okay.
If you wanted, we could of course like debate him maybe him being above Daredevil, but I'll kind of leave that one up to you. What do
The
you think?
only no, well, I don't know. I was gonna say the only thing that Daredevil has is he can walk in the sun, but so can Blade because Blade is still half human. So, him and Daredevil are almost on the same level. It's just that he actually does take on all of the powers of the vampire. So, if anything, I may put him above Daredevil because of that. Like he has
See,
super
but
super strength
okay,
as well.
yeah, but I feel like because of the origin of his powers, I feel like I kind of want to put that in mystical.
Okay.
Like, I don't
Okay.
know, because if we do leave him in street level where we have him right now, I feel like we maybe want to bring. I don't know, because we have like Black Knight in
Mm-hmm.
mystical right now, and I feel like that makes sense. I don't know. For me, it makes sense for him to be in mystical,
Okay.
but then again, I haven't seen the movie in a very long
Okay.
time. So therefore, like I will yield to like
Well,
your
no, like
like
with your logic,
decision, but
I dropped him to mystical. But the only person that I can see him going up against almost evenly is Moon Knight because I'm basing this off of course the Wesley Snipes version of Blade to where Blade's story even in the comics is of him being a martial artist, right? And in hand to hand combat, he's a badass and he has his sword to kind of slay these vampires. It's just that after watching Moon Knight has so many beings in his mind right now. He could tap into anybody. And it's like it's like
you're
so many like
done.
different styles. So I think I would put him up against. I put Moon Knight above Blade, but Blade above Scarlet Scarab.
Cool. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. And we have okay. Let's rank Monica
Okay,
Rambeau. This one's a
it's a
little
little
funny
tricky.
because it's a little tricky because I feel like her powers obviously are very similar to Captain
Hmm.
Marvel, but I kind of want to lean to bringing her into street level only because she's not intergalactic. Like she hasn't traveled, and done that just
Hmm.
yet. She might, but I don't know. Would she be mystical? Like because
I would.
her powers kind of got triggered by going in and out of like the
That's
little
the thing.
sphere
Like
for.
I think for her, I don't know why, but like I wanted to put her in interdimensional just because of her
Oh,
passing through that wall. I think 3 times for her to finally get her powers, or it may have been twice or whatnot. But
yeah, but then again, it's not like she was passing through a different dimension, you
right.
know? So I see what you're saying, but I don't. I feel like that wouldn't push her into the interdimensional category.
So as of right now, then I would throw her into intergalactic
Why would you put her in intergalactic though?
because of how ended and the scroll pointed up to space saying like somebody wanted
Oh,
to talk to her.
done. Intergalactic. Okay, yes, let's put her there. And then for like, in comparison, I mean, being that her levels are or her powers are so close to Captain
Mm-hmm.
Marvel, I mean, I kind of want to put her maybe just below her, above Thor, but
Wow.
I don't know. What do you think?
As of right now, I think I just want to put her above the Fantastic Four.
Eternals.
No, not even.
Oh, okay. I'll take it.
Just
I'll take
because
it.
we haven't seen the extent. Like, yeah, I think she was able to
She's
defend
young.
herself from Wanda, but we haven't seen the extent of her power yet.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay.
So, intergalactic, just one above the Fantastic
Mhm.
Four. We have. Let's
Let's go. Let's
see.
go
Do you want
to.
to do Shuri?
Sure. Let's do it.
So Shuri, as Shuri, would easily be street level.
Hmm.
But Shuri's supposed to be taking on the mantle of the Black
Mhm.
Panther. So I feel like that changes
It
things.
sure does.
But then we don't know, like, we don't know yet. It's not like, I don't think it's openly, like, confirmed.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. And then with the whole
That's the thing.
picture,
Yes, like because we don't know who the Panther is. It's like we can only pretty much speculate that it's gonna be her based off of what we've seen in the comics or whatnot. It was the thickness in the legs. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't her. It wasn't those glutes. It wasn't her glutes at all.
we know glutes, guys.
We know
It's
glutes
our
for
job.
sure, and it wasn't Shuri's. I'm sure it wasn't Shuri's. I'm sorry. As much as I wanted to, uh, putting her in street level would then I would put her, being that she is of Wakanda. No, she's not part of the Dora. I would still think she would be able to defend herself, maybe borderline on Dora level. So, would you think that she would be able to go over Bucky Barnes or Captain America?
See, I would like to put her maybe under Jailene,
Okay.
above Daredevil, because it wouldn't make sense for her to have similar uh, fighting abilities as the Dora Milaje.
Okay.
Oh, you know something that we can kind of reference actually to that. In Black Panther, wasn't she like blasting at like
Mm-hmm.
Killmonger, and then she ran out of her blast, and then she really didn't do much after that.
Mm. Man, oh man.
She kind of had a good thing, right? Am I remembering this correctly?
I
Like
think
I
you
swear
are
to God,
like
that's what happened.
her little blasters I think he damaged them low key, but anything but by that logic, she wasn't doing anything hand to hand. So I wouldn't
Exactly.
even put her
Yeah.
above Jai Ling because as of right now,
I would just put her next. Like honestly, I kind of want to put her underneath Echo.
underneath
Like I
Echo,
don't
above
know.
Nick Fury.
Well, yeah, honestly, because we know Echo has like very good like fighting
Sure.
abilities. Shuri, I mean, she has her technology, sure, but I mean that technology in like in the way that she was using it, at least in Black Panther,
Mm-hmm.
which is the only reference I really have, because we didn't get too many fighting scenes from her in
Right.
Endgame. They once that thing was out, that was it, and they did
We
it
need
with
more.
Sans, and
I feel like we need
yeah,
more, and we're gonna get that in Wakanda Forever
of
because
course,
if anything, I could argue it's like yeah, it's her and her technology, but I think if anything, if we're gonna talk technology in the street level, if she had some form of martial arts, right? Though it may not have been displayed in Black Panther or Endgame, I can put her up against Ant Man and the Wasp. You know, just because if we're talking tech, I think she could probably outsmart the shrinking tech. But the only thing that we know of is Ant Man and the Wasp do have some type of hand to hand combat. You know, so I don't know. As of right now, she out like we'll keep her above Nick Fury just because we have yet to see any type of like other hand to hand combat with her.
yeah. Like I feel like we can't infer too much because we don't really know what
Right.
history comes for her, or what is going to come. And also with what we've seen so far, it's like even with her technology, it's not like we've seen her create this whole like suit for herself or this like you know what I mean. So yeah, I like her just being above Nick
Mm-hmm.
Fury and below Echo for now. Like I expect us to move her up probably after the Black Panther
Mm-hmm.
film. But for now, I think that's good.
Let,
I
let's do
think.
Zemo.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I was literally about to say Zemo. Yeah.
Okay. Where would you throw him? Of course, I think he would go in the with the rest of the Thunderbolts in street level is just where would you put him? No, he's not enhanced. We haven't seen too much hand-to-hand combat with him. We just know that he's intelligent. So where would you put him in there?
I mean, I feel like I couldn't put him, I feel like I couldn't put him above Yelena Belova and beyond just based on like fighting skills or even enhancement or anything like that. I feel like his superpower is that he's has a lot of like what is it? Like experience in like the CIA
Mm-hmm.
for Sokovia,
Mm-hmm.
if you will, and has that kind of ability. But if he had that plus hand to hand combat, then I feel like he would be easily above like US agent. But we haven't seen that, you know?
I low key just because of not seeing that. I feel like he is honestly known in the MCU to have the gift of gab, and he's a powerful man with the gift of gab, and he knows how to manipulate things. So if anything, I put him above Nick Fury, but below Shuri, just because Shuri has her tech and she could just blast him out anywhere.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Yep, I like that. The gift of gab. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's what I see it. He's a talker and he knows how to talk basically to get him to where he needs to get.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a superpower
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Um, okay, let's do Rhodey.
Okay.
Okay, Rhodey. I feel like he would kind of be in the realm of like um, Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Mm-hmm.
Cap, and Winter
Mm-hmm.
Soldier. But where would it rank? I mean, I don't know. I feel like I kind of want to like view almost like Iron Man because that is like a lot of the powers he has, right?
Right. But say as far as his suit is concerned, what makes him different from Iron Man is his suit was enhanced by Rocket. So I don't know the capabilities of his suit. Um, I think it can withstand a fight with Falcon. Like the only thing to really beat Rhodey in the past was Vision. Um, so I think he can go. He's in that realm for sure of being around Captain America, uh, and he just has flight above Bucky Barnes, flight and weapons at that. But to put him against Ant Man and the Wasp, I don't know. What do you think?
See, I on my end of the list, I feel like he does go above Cap, but below Ant-Man and the Wasp for now
Okay.
because I think Ant-Man and the Wasp, like I feel, their suits give them like strength. They
Okay.
can fly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess both of them can fly at this point because she carries him.
Right.
And they can go small, which is an additional advantage. And we've seen that be used extensively in the What If series,
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they still have like the one up on him.
Okay. So I think the last person is Riri Williams, aka Ironheart. It's a character that we have yet to meet, but we know that she does construct a suit that's comparable to Tony Stark. So, with that being said, she's in the streets for now, but who knows? Let's keep her street level, but where on the street level category? Because now this is just going to be based off of speculation.
Based on speculation, being that she's meant to create a suit that's very comparable to Iron Man, I'm gonna put her, I feel like, as close to Iron Man as we can, which is Rhodey,
Okay.
and one below that. Um, that's where I'm feeling. What do you think?
You're putting her above Captain America.
Yes.
Oh,
Just
there.
based on like if we're using it by, hey, this is all
Oh,
speculation.
there.
I have no grounds for this, but I'm just saying if we're gonna say that, like if we're speculating, and her suit is meant to be very comparable to Iron Man
Mm-hmm.
and we have Rhodey above Cap, it would make sense for us to put her near Rhodey. I wouldn't put her above him because we don't know how she's going to use it, right? We've seen other people use the Iron Man suit and not be successful.
Have we?
So I feel like, oh yeah, I'm thinking of what is his name, Jebediah, from the first film, because he had like a version of the suit
Oh,
and he
right.
lost, you know.
Right.
As well as in the second film, right? Like we saw the guy with the little like slappy thingies. You know, what's his name? The Russian dude. He had a
The
suit
slappy
and
thing
he
is the
failed.
whips. I
The
think they're
whip,
called whips.
the whip.
I was just like, slappy thingies. What is she talking? Oh, those whips.
So we've seen people like have a suit and not be successful with it. So I obviously don't have grounds to say she's above
Hmm.
Rhodey, but it just makes sense if we're comparing. All of this is speculation. I'm
I
just using
wanna.
it based on.
Here's what I want to drag her down a little bit, and not as a person or a character, but drag her down in terms of her position on here. I want to actually put her below Xialing and above Daredevil.
Oh, that's a big drop.
Yeah.
Explain.
Reason being is because as of right now, even in this picture, we see her constructing the suit, right? And like you mentioned, she may not fly as well as Tony, but uh, Falcon, in terms of flight, like as of right now, besides Vision, I don't see anybody flying like Falcon. Like I think Rhodey just has him based on the weaponry, but even though I think I could put him above Rhodey just because his suit is vibranium. But as far as Riri is concerned, I don't think she has that experience to go up against Falcon. And we've seen the Winter Soldier actually take out Falcon in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So he doesn't mind fighting people with aerial experience. And so has Jailing. Jailing fighting all those monsters in the air. I think with anything, she can probably use a weapon to kind of take down Riri Williams with that experience. So that's the only reason why I put her above Daredevil, because Daredevil can't. We haven't seen him fight anybody with aerial combat, if that makes sense.
Okay, okay. Let's see. And like I said, I think experience is what really changes the game. Because
Mm-hmm.
we've seen people have Iron Man tech, like Tony, like, start technology
Right.
and not be able to live up to what Tony did, which Money didn't, or even like up to Rhodey's standards.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know. We don't know with her. One thing that does give her an up from when, say, Tony started, though, is that he made his things from scraps in a cave. She's in Wakanda,
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning to build her armory, and so armory alone, if we have Rhodey right now above Cap, that might put her above him. However, experience again changes the game, and we don't know where that lies.
Well, let's
Um,
say let's talk about artificial intelligence just for a second, because say if anything, when it comes down to it, Rhodey's still kind of based. I'm assuming his system is based off of what the Avengers offered and what Rocket offered, but Sam and Riri may be based off a similar system, being that they're based both off of Wakanda. So I think if anything, that's the reason why I can put Sam over that. So with that, a flight experience and being able to use the system, the Wakandan system or whatnot, I think he would be. I mean, he would outdo her there. But
sure.
everybody, like from the Winter Soldier and Jai Ling, I mean, I kind
I
of.
feel like she could go in the middle of those two because Zai Ling, I understand what you're saying. Like she's
Mm-hmm.
had experience like fighting off like people with like flying abilities because
Yeah,
of like the beings that
like
were
those Soul
in
Eaters. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, those soul eaters that were in the film.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, but like Riri's not a mindless kind of soul eater. She is
Right.
super smart. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like technology plus that, I feel like for now, above Jai Li makes sense. And we could leave her underneath Bucky just because we don't know what experience she brings to the table just yet, you
It's
know?
just it's just wild, just kind of thinking about, like, say if you have her pulled up on your chart right now, and then you see where Shuri lands, like under her, like
It's
Shuri
directly under.
is just as smart. And though she may not be the Panther, we got to see her like remote control like a car, and like who's to say she created that system and having I forgot the CIA agent, but control a jet, you know. So I don't know. It's just weird seeing young little Riri, and then you have Shuri that probably taught
Man,
Riri some
Sheree must
things,
be
you
mad
know.
at us.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's look, Shuri. Just hit me up and let me know if you're Black Panther, and then I'll just move you all the way up. Okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry about nothing. But until then, being
We
that
got you.
it's still a mystery, it's just weird seeing her all the way down at the bottom like that.
It's funny. No, but I think it's also because Riri, we have just speculation. Like, she's not
Mm-hmm.
limited by what's actually on screen so far. Shuri kind of is because we've only seen so much of her.
Mm-hmm.
And of what we've seen, I think supports where she lands right now.
Okay.
Obviously, we expect to bring up Riri, like, pretty soon.
Yeah.
I will say real quickly before we kind of actually, yeah,
That's
that's
it.
it
She
for
was the
all the
last one.
people. But
Mm-hmm.
the because of something you said, being that now Cap has his suit and he has like Wakandan technology with it,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that might actually put him above Rhodey at this point.
Oh yeah,
But
and
what are your thoughts?
that's what I said. Like while I was kind of just chatting right now, I was just thinking. I was like, even with the system, I would put that above Rhodey. It's not even just the system, but the material. You know.
The vibranium,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I would put him over
Unless,
Rhodey.
yeah, and Rhodey's suit has been enhanced by Rocket. Yes, could Rocket have brought something that was stronger than vibranium? Sure, because we know something like that exists. Thanos' like little
Right.
thingy, but we don't know that.
Yeah,
So
we
for
don't.
now, I think I like our ranking so far.
Okay.
I like it.
Awesome.
Do you have any last minute changes, rebuttals, or anything that you want to do before we solidify this for now?
No. As far as where we're at, I want to read just the top two of each level. Because with that, because that gives us, let's say, 8 people, and with that, they could potentially make or break uh some of the stories down the line. So the top two in street level are Spider-Man and White Vision. The top two in mystical are Shang-Chi and Doctor Strange. And then the top two in intergalactic are Guardians and Captain Marvel. Then there's only two in interdimensional, which is Clea and Janet Van Dyne. And then the last category, multiversal, is America Chavez and what's her name again?
Sylvie.
Sylvie. So with how many categories is that? Is that 5? So with these 10 people, I feel like those are almost just kind of by how we defined it, maybe the 10 strongest people that we have. Maybe.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. At this point,
So that is our ranking, ladies and gentlemen. And if you all have just any opinions on it or anything like that, I actually put the link to this tier maker in our bio on Instagram. So if you want to kind of tier it out just like we did, and I think the only thing you would have to do would be add interdimensional and multiversal at the bottom. Yeah, you can. I think you can save it, and I think it saves maybe as a picture, and then you could shoot it to us on our Instagram, and we'll post it on our stories and see what you say. But I thought this to be like a pretty fun idea. We're about to go on a break next week. It's my B-Day week, and I wanted to do something a little fun before we take a week off, and then we'll be back to talk about. Wait, what show are we talking about when we get back?
I want to say it's Sandman.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you heard, but She-Hulk got delayed one day.
Ding.
One day. This
Okay.
is how you know. Hold on, I'm sorry. This is how you know the VFX team is like stressing the hell out. What else
Mm-hmm.
do they have to do? It's not editing, it's the VFX. Like, dude, I feel so
Definitely.
bad for the
Definitely.
department. You know they're stressing. They
Mm-hmm.
were like, "Can you give us a day? It'll be done in a day."
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I think we're gonna be talking about Sandman when we come back.
Okay.
And then we go into She-Hulk. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, Grace, let me ask you, as far as the super fights are concerned, did you have fun?
Oh my God, this was so much fun. I really loved it. I think I realized what we were doing when we did Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, I won. But we gotta do this again. I feel like we need to do this for like DC because I think it'd be kind of a cool one to even revisit the whole thing we talked about because we have so many Jokers and so many Batman that we
Mm-hmm.
can kind of even rank them within that ranking. So, yeah, we got to do something like this again because that was pretty fun.
Sure. I would love to do that. I think I mentioned I wanted to do a villains one too of the MCU,
Yes.
and then if we wanted to do the same thing for DC, well, we can do that as well. And yeah, I think that's everything that I got.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I'm good. Last thing, Freddie,
Okay.
guys. Freddie.
All right.
So she was not in our ranking, but I got her this weekend,
Mm.
and I'm just really pumped. Ain't she pretty? So
Oh,
I feel like it's
so
too
so
reflective, but
with her, where would you put her? What category?
I mean, I feel like she would have to be like near Thor. Like it's the same powers. It's the same,
But Thor
like
is
maybe.
intergalactic, so where would you put her? I could say she could be street, you know what I'm
I see
saying?
what you're
Where would
saying.
you put her?
Um, I mean, if she was to be street, she would have to be above Spider-Man because it'd be that kind of debate you made, like Cap with Mjolnir versus Spider-Man. Like Cap might win.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if we put her in street, that's where she would be. But I think being that now, she has the powers. She was like in Asgard. She fought like she died as an Asgardian because she went
Battle and died. Yeah, yeah,
into
yeah.
yeah, and then she went into Valhalla. In the comics, also like the way she's actually reincarnated is because Thor is trying to resurrect her, and Odin senses this, and because Odin now sees her as a true Asgardian, he helps, and with their two powers combined, they're actually able to resurrect her.
Oh wow.
Um, so I don't know. I think right now I kind of want to say she's kind of intergalactic at this point. She's earned that. I think she's earned that title.
Okay.
She died a soldier. She's in Valhalla.
Wait,
um,
I'm looking back at the list. Because if anything, she could be an intergalactic, but actually no. I was gonna say she could fall under mystical too, but she's not on this list, so we don't have to.
we don't have to stress
We
about
don't
it.
have to
It's
stress
okay.
about it. And I do want to
It's okay.
say an honorable mention, because with the news of Guardians and then bringing Adam Warlock into the scene. Like I texted Grace earlier this week, I was like, "Is Adam Warlock a villain?" And I think he's being introduced as a villain. So if anything, I would put him into like the villain ranking, whenever we decide to do that. But we know that he becomes a hero, and you said eventually an Avenger, yeah?
He's been an Avenger. He's been a Guardian. He is one of the leading forces in Infinity War as a hero. He more often than not plays something of like an anti-hero, kind of like the Guardians, where they
Right.
do good things, but they're kind of internally just kind of selfish little guys. And sometimes, like occasionally, he does play like the role of the villain as well. Like I
Right.
think that's exactly what I said to you when like I texted you. And my first response was like, "No, he's not a villain," and then I just gave like a whole like little description.
Because I think as of right
Um,
now, they're giving us a bunch of like could be villains, but not like, because you have him, you have Namor, you have I think there's one more person that like plays a villain but ends up being a good guy. So it's just a weird. I guess, transition to where we're going to take this introduction, and then hopefully by the end of, let's say, Wakanda Forever, Namor is good, and then they create the 616 version of the Illuminati. Get the 838 out of here, you know what I'm saying?
I like that. I love that. No, you know something? I think a good example would be kind of like M'Baku. Like he came in as an antagonist to
T'Challa.
T'Challa,
Mm-hmm.
and in the end, he helped like save Wakanda. You know, and then since then, like they've had very similar objectives and goals. You know,
Yeah.
and so I think that's the same thing with Namor. It's like it's not like that the Atlanteans are bad. Their objective is just very like outside of like or opposite of Wakanda, and so therefore that's where their conflict lies. And so with this one, since Aisha, right, like the Empress or the High Priestess, right, like the Golden People, um, she creates Adam Warlock to fight the Guardians of the
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy. It's safe to assume that they're going to be starting off with confrontation and
Right.
conflict. Maybe Adam Warlock already has Gamora on her side because Gamora and Adam Warlock have like a love history
Oh,
in
damn.
the comics as well. And then they show up trying to get at the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then it's like
Damn, that's why they
Quill is
beefed him
like,
up
man,
to get Peter Quill jealous. Man.
dude, I just created. You're welcome, guys. I created a whole storyline
There
for
it
you.
is.
Marvel, hit me up.
You called it. You called it. August 5th,
Done.
2022. Boom. That's how it went down. The CCU called it.
But by the end of it, you know, like they're obviously gonna, I think, end up on the same team. You know, like well, they did. Okay. I mean, this is the last time we're gonna see this version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Honestly, I think instead of Peter Quill, Adam Warlock might actually end up being the head of the Guardians by the end of this film. You know, we don't know. We just know this movie isn't gonna just be like the funny, witty, soft, you know, colorfulness that the other two. It's going to like make us cry.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be very heartfelt. So we'll see.
We will see. Well, hopefully you all enjoyed this ranking like we did. This actually made us, I think, the longest stream so far. We're almost at 3 hours. We're at like 2:45 right now. So this was fun. I thought this would be a cool thing to do. So we'll let you know when we do something else like this. But we're about to be back onto the show talk when we get back. And yeah, I think that's it. Grace, you have a wonderful weekend, and yeah, everybody else, y'all do the same. So we will catch y'all 2 weeks from today. So not the 12th, but the 19th. Cool?
Sounds awesome. All right, chill. Enjoy your birthday vacay.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful time.
Thank you. All right,
Ciao.
guys. We'll see y'all later.